Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more to say. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. There ain't always gonna walk through the door. There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with a special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. Hi. It sounds like I have something, but I really don't. I got pants on. That's good. I recently went over all the things you could buy at a farmer's market with someone because they said they wanted to go to a farmer's market, and I just kept asking them if they were going to buy green beans, and they were like, no. And then I asked, well, are you going to buy like a radish? And they were like, no. And then I was like, are you going to buy like a turnip? And they're like, no. And so I just kept going like that for like, I don't know, 5 minutes.
You know, there are times when I kind of like dream about like you kind of moving down to Texas and being my roomie. And then sometimes I'm like, it would be insufferable.
It might be. It just depends, you know? It just depends on if sometimes I'm an asshole, and that's just me. That's just how I'm living. Most of the time I'm just really quiet, but once I know you, I'll just start saying weird shit to you. Because that's fun to me. Yeah. I did that today. I took a nap. That was good.
I took a nap.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It's good to take a nap.
Yes.
And now I remembered another thing that I did over the course of the week, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I was like, I know there was one more thing, but I couldn't remember what it was, and now I remember, so that's good.
Yeah, let's not blow our load.
No, we don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yes, we are a video game variety show, and we're back to talk to you about various things and topics.
Yeah. Like if you want to buy, grapes, where do you do that? Some people will say the supermarket. Some people only want the freshest grapes, so they go to the farmer's market. Maybe they'll get fresh grapes there. You don't know. These are the things we're going to talk about. You
don't know their life and their struggles.
You just don't. You can't tell.
Don't judge somebody because you never know what they bought at the farmer's market.
That's right.
Yeah. Before we get going, quick show announcement. We have a winner for the next Suffer Select.
Oh, boy.
And for the next Suffer Select for Patreon, we are playing the porn game Guilty Force, Wish of the Colony. Only 7 votes on that one, so I don't know if that's an indicator that people aren't interested in us doing one of these games, or if it's just the selection of games.
No, it's good. It's an uneven number. It means nobody was going to tie.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that meant, but okay.
Well, if there's 7 people that voted, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there won't be a tie.
Yeah.
Because if there's a tie, what do we do?
I think that it kind of ends up being like kind of dealer's choice.
Okay, great, good.
I think if this one had tied, I would have said, okay, let's do Guilty Force.
Yeah, Guilty Force is the clear answer to me. I'm just like, I'm telling you. Oh man, I'm telling you. I'm not looking forward to playing it again.
No, and I'll be honest. I was hoping that Superhuman would win because I was trying to avoid a modicum of suffering. I was still going to suffer.
That one sounds fine.
I think I would have had fun, like ripping into the story and the terrible art with
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
But this one looks painful.
Oh, it's not good.
It's going to be a bit before we get this episode out because we're recording this episode, and then we have an episode next week, and then we will be not recording for 2 weeks because I will be I'll be on vacation and I won't be available to record. Don't worry though, we will have episodes going out. They're just going to be different types of episodes.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Yeah, maybe. It might be something.
Yeah. And then also, just to kind of slightly toot my own horn, putting more stuff up on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I will save that because it actually goes into a thing that I wanted to talk about as more of a larger topic.
Okay.
So I will save that. Justin.
What
have you been up to?
Oh. I finished Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Overall, pretty good. I will talk.
You seem less high on it than I am.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I don't want to come off like that. There was a point. I'll put it like this. There was a point where I started debating if it was my game of the year, actually.
Okay, good. Because that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I've actually, like, that debate has begun with me.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm ultimately there because I got to the ending itself and went kind of did a, I have to think about that one. And it kind of soured me a little bit on it, but it's still like at least my number 2 favorite game that I've played so far.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. But
I'm glad to hear that.
I didn't mean to give you that impression, Julian. I did really like the game.
You just seemed a little, because we talked a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
Also, you definitely seemed like a little like tepid on it.
No, it's really good. It's really good. The ending was like, then again, I don't know what else they would have. Well, they could have done other things, but it's a whole thing. I'll talk about that on another thing, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but,
so we are going to do our first like spoiler cast.
Yeah,
and that is going to be for executive producer tier patrons. We're hoping to record that soon, but it'll take a bit once we record it, it's actually going to be a bit before I put it together because I want to. Like the last time we did a spoiler cast was for Final Fantasy 16.
Oh yeah,
over at Nerds Without Pants, and I kind of went pretty big on that, and I'd kind of like to go pretty big on all of our spoiler casts especially since people are paying for them.
Yeah.
So like I want to have like, clips from the game in there and stuff like that. So it'll be a bigger editing process than a regular episode.
Do your thing, man. Yeah. It was really good. I really liked it. I am pretty high on it.
I love that voice cast, man.
Yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
It was a very good game overall. I enjoyed it very much. I even beat like I would say it felt like less grinding than the first one did. To me anyway.
I'm pretty sure based on what you told me that they patched it to make things
it's possible.
A little smoother.
It's possible because
I didn't, it wasn't that I had to grind a ton.
Mm-hmm. It's
just that considering how much of the side stuff that I had done, I was surprised that I ended up underleveled.
Right.
By the time that I got to the end.
Yeah, because I did all of the the optional little samey dungeons, and I finished them, even like the super hard ones, and that was the hardest fight. Was the one super dungeon. That one was hard. Mm-hmm. And then when I went into the ending, I was like, oh man, ain't nothing in here, shit. Which was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it I don't know. It didn't feel like as much grinding as the first game did. The first game, man, I spent so much time going through that fucking battle arena. It was not even funny.
No. And I think that's the thing to really hammer home about Infinite Wealth is that they really did improve on nearly everything that Yakuza Like a Dragon needed to improve upon.
I agree.
As far as the RPG mechanics go, and
wholeheartedly
all that
agree. Yeah, they fixed a lot of the battle system, made it flowed a lot better. Yeah. It was really good. A really good game. So that's that. Let's see, what else did I do? I then played a little bit of, I can't remember the order of all this stuff coming out. It was Yars Rising. I played Yars Rising kind of after that. After I got done with Like a Dragon, I kind of went, I don't really want to go back to Star Wars right now. I don't know why.
Sure.
I was like,
I mean, I think you and I are similar in the sense that, like, once you finish like a massive game,
I want
kind of want something.
I need to wind down. And then I was like, let's save that. I might go back into it this weekend. That's what I've been thinking about doing.
Yeah.
But so I was like, this just came out. I've been wanting to play it. I played the demo and kind of liked it. So let me give this a shot. And yeah, I don't care for it that much. It's okay.
Shouts out to Megan McDuffie. She did
the music's great. The music's great. Like, I remember commenting on that when I was playing the demo on stream.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, wow, this music's really good.
Yeah.
And that is a really high point of the game. I think the main voice actress is actually pretty good. She's doing her goddamn best. Some of the other voice cast is like kind of just there. They're fine. They're trying hard, I guess. There's one character that has only come up twice so far, and I find them so unbelievably lame that I hope I never talk to them again. And I may not, because I probably won't play the game again. I'm not going to lie to you.
This is it's a search action game, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is historically not your thing.
Which is kind of, I need to say this. It's not a bad game at all. It's just not my thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like, but then again, I've gotten into some of those games before, right?
Mm-hmm. You really enjoyed Bloodstained.
Bloodstained was cool. There's probably a couple other ones that I could probably get into. This one is fine. It's just, it feels a little by the numbers and kind of like trimmed down by what I guess I would expect from that genre nowadays. It has some cool ideas. Like, there's a hacking mini game that's a lot like it's not a lot like it's Yars Revenge that they just kind of put in there as the hacking minigame, which is very inspired idea. I think that's
very
really
cute
awesome
and very smart.
Yes, it's really cool, and they have like different variations of like what you have to do in them and stuff like that. And some were I need to say I'm terrible at Yars Revenge. Like I've learned that from this game. I'm like, I am really bad at this. This is hard for me.
Ray Kassar laughing at you from the grave.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. But yeah, like overall, I think it's just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of what it is. It's nothing bad. It's just not super great, and like there's nothing really driving me to keep going in it every time I play it.
I actually do have an important question.
Okay.
Do you start with a double jump?
No, I don't think you do.
See, more and more I have less patience for these types of games if you don't start with that in your kit already. Yeah. Because I feel like that should just be in your kit from the jump.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And in fact, I don't know if there is one or not. I find a lot of the movement in it really kind of frustrating and clumsy sometimes. So they have these like stealth sequences that you have to do. And like, so you hold a button in, and your character will move slowly. And if you get spotted by the people, they will just fuck your shit up. You really can't like shoot them or anything to get them off of you. So you have to be careful and do this stuff. But a lot of it's like wanting you to jump up into these vents. And they do the jumps where you have to jump and grab onto a thing. So you're kind of just hoping that you grab onto it. And sometimes you don't. And then you miss and then fall. And then the man turns around and sees you and kills you. And it's not great. So I found a lot of that kind of frustrating. Like where I stopped the first time I played it, I got to like kind of a longer stealth sequence. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to put this down for today. It was only like 45 minutes in, and I was just like, I just do not want to do this. That was a little frustrating. It doesn't feel like there's like enough shit to find in it. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't, like, there's two powers that I got. One is like it's mostly what I played in the demo, is like the opening of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
The demo, I think, skips ahead a little bit to a boss fight, but not too far ahead, because I recognized pretty much everywhere I was, and like the stealth sequence I was talking about is the part that they skipped to get to the fucking boss fight, and I was like,
they knew.
Yeah, I think they knew. They knew not to put that in there. Like I said, it's fine. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of a mediocre one of those games. Like,
maybe check out a video before you jump in.
Yeah, you'll kind of know if it's your thing. The music's great. The Megan McDuffie is on the soundtrack, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, she didn't do the whole soundtrack I saw, but she does have, I think quite a few tracks on.
Yeah, she's got the first 2 songs, I think, or something. I know she was all over like the beginning of the game. 2 of the tracks that were in the beginning of the game are hers, because you get a little. This is one thing I kind of like. They almost do power-ups like Resident Evil style puzzle thing, like where you gotta like fit them into place, but it's like it's the Yars Revenge logo, right? Like the little bug guy, but you fit in like little pieces into that logo. It's hard to explain without seeing it, but it's pretty cool. So like if one thing will be like a square, so that'll fit into the little antler part. Okay. And then other thing will be like an L, so you can put that somewhere wherever it fits in, stuff like that. It's kind of neat how they did that, but I've only gotten like 2 or 3 of them so far. So, but yeah, it's fine. It's super not my thing. Like I said,
is that PC only, or is it on consoles as well?
I actually don't know.
Is it the typical indie thing, PC and Switch only?
Let's see. Let's look that up, because I'm kind of curious. I didn't even think about it.
Because both the Xbox and PlayStation stores are pretty bad about showing you the new stuff.
Yeah. Seems like
Which
it's
honestly,
on
that
Switch.
should be like front and center every time that you fire your console
platforms,
up.
PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series X, and Series S. So I think it's on everything. I don't know if it's out now on everything, but it will be. That's a good question, actually, and nobody seems to have the answer to me. So you'd have to look and see if it's on your platform of choice, but apparently if it's not, it will be.
Cool.
But yeah, it's neat. I feel like there are just better games in that genre. So if you're not really if you're not really into like the whole Yars Revenge nostalgia, I guess Yars Rising might not do much for you, which I'm not. Like, I don't care. So it's it's like one of those things that this is for somebody, but I don't think it's for me. It's one of those types of things.
That's something that I am finding interesting, because, Atari nostalgia is before my time, and definitely before your time. Digital Eclipse, they've been doing those really cool, they're calling the Gold Master series, right? Yeah. Like they did the Atari 50, and then they did the Jordan Mechner stuff with Prince of Persia, and
right.
Kung Fu, and they did Jeff Minter, and it's like these are all really cool. I have no nostalgia for any of this stuff. So I kind of want them to have them, and because I like video game history, right. But at the same time, it's like I'm waiting for them to get to stuff that I give a shit about. They are doing a right. Tetris one, but I don't think it has Game Boy Tetris in it, which is like the only Tetris that I give a shit about.
Yeah, right.
So it's weird, and I am wondering, like, are they ever going to get to something that I care about? Yeah,
I bet getting the Game Boy Tetris from Nintendo is somehow really hard.
I can only imagine.
I bet they fucking guard that one with a knife, probably. No, I'm the same way. I don't have much nostalgia for that stuff.
Like if they did like a Sierra one, like a Sierra Adventure Games
that could
one,
be
like
neat.
I could be into that. Like if they focused on Roberta Williams, right? Like King's Quest and Phantasmagoria and stuff, like that would be awesome. Because I think her story is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like if they did like maybe a Richard Garriott one, like even though
I was going to say the Ultima stuff could be interesting. Yeah,
I would be cool. I would be interested in seeing that stuff. But
they probably can get there.
I hope they do. Yeah. I hope these are doing well enough for them to get there. And it's like I want to support them, but it's just like I don't know if I'm ever really gonna mess with this. Mm-hmm. Like even as a curiosity, I don't know. Like, but I find it very fascinating. But because I've been thinking. Well, I know why it's on my mind. I was talking to Bill from A Gamer Looks at 40 last night for the Final Fantasy VII part of the interview.
Yeah,
and because what I've been realizing more and more lately is that my generation is getting pushed out of video games. Not just because a lot of people my age are just leaving gaming, and so there's fewer and fewer of us like kind of out there. But I also definitely see more of a mentality like online of, you don't know what you're talking about. You shouldn't be commenting on video games because you're old, right? Which is a very interesting thing to me. And I think this also ties into me playing Astro Bot, which I'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, now that I'm doing reviews for our Patreon, like I'm kind of starting to frame certain things in my head as I'm playing. And I'm like, I've been here for all 30 years of this history, and there's fewer and fewer people who are playing video games today who can say that. And I find that to be very cool on my end, but also more and more kind of isolating because there aren't as many people around there that have that experience, right? I don't know. It's just kind of a thing that I've been kicking around. And so thinking about like the Atari generation, which are people that are, about like 6 to 10 years older than me, who have long since dropped gaming. Like a lot, because a lot of those players, they played the Atari and they played in the arcades, and then they grew the fuck up and just never looked at games again, right? So there's not a lot of people still around that have like a lot of nostalgia for it, unless they're just retro game collectors that weren't there for it at the time, but have since acquired a knowledge of it because they collect it. And I feel that we're going to be starting to see that with like original Nintendo and even Super Nintendo and really even like PlayStation, right?
It's possible. Yeah. The only difference between those things is the Atari franchises kind of just disappeared at a certain point. Like they just didn't come back. Now they're trying, at least I'll give them that. Like this is kind of a first step in like, hey, let's actually use our IP and shit that we have. Like,
and
why
it's a
not?
neat way of bringing it back and like giving a wink and a nod to the original, but doing something fresh with it.
Whereas like like Nintendo stuff, like Nintendo still has Mario games, like so there's like people picking up a new Mario and going, this is really cool, I like Mario, now have 20 plus years to go back and be like, oh, let me look at all the old ones and stuff.
Try 40, Justin.
No, I know, I said plus. I added a plus to the end. There was
20
a plus.
only gets you to 2004.
I know. No, it's always going to be 20 plus. You just put a plus sign, you're covered. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's how I describe everything. Now I guess I'm of that age now. But yeah, so I guess that'd be the difference, Like that's why people will probably care about that stuff more than they will like the Atari stuff. Unless hey, maybe Atari will pull some really cool game off with one of the franchises that they happen to own, and people will go back and visit it. Maybe this is one of them. I don't know. I haven't seen many people talk about this one. It seemed like it got buried.
Look, there's a lot of big
games. There's a lot of video
right
games.
Now,
yeah, there really
coming.
is. Yeah, it kind of released at a weird time, but it doesn't everything.
I don't know. This whole the history of stuff and nostalgia, I'm finding very interesting because video games are still such a new medium. And so, like, obviously we don't know what it was like for, like, as, like, the first, like, film, like as the first people who watched the first movie started to die off or whatever. And because a lot of those movies just got straight up destroyed. Yeah. Because they were like, okay, we're done running this. So, like, what are we going to do with it? They just chunked them. Right. And, definitely with like certain Japanese developers in particular, there was that kind of mentality with game design. It's like, okay, we don't need this code anymore in the bin. The game has been released. But I think, I don't know if I told you this, but there was this exchange that I saw on Twitter. It was actually a tweet that I saw. Okay. But I realized what the implication of the tweet was. And it was around the time that Resident Evil 4 remake came out. Okay. And so obviously people were talking about other remakes in the franchise. And it was someone, I think it was actually like it was someone complaining about people talking about Resident Evil remake. Specifically the HD one.
You talking about the GameCube one?
Well, yes, but you know how it got re-released in HD, right? Yeah. And so he was like, stop calling like Resident Evil remake a remake. Even like on the store page, it just says it's an HD remaster, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, you thought that was Resident Evil 1. Yeah. Like you don't realize that was an HD remaster of a remake of a PlayStation
remake of a game. Yeah. No, they have no idea.
And we're there now, right?
Yep.
You know, it's like growing up, there were songs that I didn't realize were you know, like
there's a tons of those. There's still a bunch of songs and shit that I look up. Every now and then I look up like who did that song, and then I'll look it up and I'm like, that is not who did that song, and then I'll find out that, oh no, that is who did that song. It's just it got covered, you know, 10 20 years later or whatever, and that's the version I know.
Right. Yeah. And same thing with movies, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, if you bring up The Thing, there is a generation right now who is not aware of the John Carpenter one.
Right.
There was that one that came out a few years ago. And there's people who know about the John Carpenter one who aren't aware of the actual one that was a remake of. Right. I don't know. I find it very fascinating, you know, for this like still very new entertainment medium. I think there is a part of me that kind of would like to, you know, as I do more YouTube stuff, kind of start to get into a little bit of history, because I do feel like a lot of stuff is getting lost. It's why I like Bill's podcast so much, because I do think it's important to get the stories from the people who were there while they're still able to tell it. Right. Because I do think that there's like things where it's like, that wasn't the mentality. That's not what happened. Right. I was there. Like that's, you know, maybe that was how some people were reacting, but that was not the overall sentiment. Right. You know, and I think that I have like, I worked at a store, so I got like a lot more impressions of people than your average person that was online. For sure.
Man, you were talking about the Final Fantasy VII thing on his show. Mm-hmm. I was curious of something, and I started looking up those strategy guides that I used to have. I was curious. I was just like, wouldn't it be cool if I just bought some of those again, just to get them? How much would they be?
I bet the Brady one is expensive.
Okay, so not actually. The Brady ones. No, here's the thing. The Brady ones are actually the official ones. Those ones aren't that bad. Is that no. You're thinking of the Versus Books one.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yes. That's the good one. With the really nice airbrush
we've
cover.
Been making that mistake for a while, and I was like, we need to correct that right today, because when I looked it up, I went, oh, the Brady ones were the official ones, because this was before Primo, I think, was a thing. Yes. And then I was like, what's the one that I liked? Where can I find that one at? I wonder how much it is, or just to look at it again. Mm-hmm. And it was a Versus Books or whatever. That strategy guide is $200 something.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, and like, not even like good. Not in mint condition. $200 for like average. I was like, holy shit.
I believe it. Like, you know, that was the guide.
That was the one. Apparently it's hard to find too.
So people aren't going to get rid of that.
No, I don't know where the hell that is. I don't think I have that anymore. Yeah. Wish I did, but I keep thinking I tried to get rid of those, and they didn't buy them from me. But then again, I don't know. I'd have to look. But yeah, I was kind of curious. I was like, oh man, that would be cool if they were like kind of like a little bit more expensive. You know, maybe I'll look into it. And then looking up the price, like even the official ones were like $90. I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just
There was a time where I wanted to collect the strategy guides along with the rest of my Final Fantasy collection, because like one thing. Oh, actually, I need to start doing this actually, because I think they're going to start getting expensive. Because I started on the Japanese games and I've gotten up to PlayStation, but I need to start getting the Japanese PS2 stuff before it gets out of hand.
And you have like a collection thing of them, don't you?
Yes. So I ended up getting like these really nice, like I think Dark Horse published them. It's 2 volumes. They're like in these really nice, like hard cardboard slip kit covers. Yeah. And so the first ones are, trying to remember. It's not the old games. It's 7, 8, 9. Yes. And then 10, 2, and 12. I wish that they had the 11 guide in there, but
I was looking those up. Yeah, those are pretty pricey now.
Are they? Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I got them when I did.
Yeah, I think for I forgot what the exact price was. I think when it came out, it was like, I don't know, 60 or 70 or something like that. Yeah. Now it's like $200 something.
Oh shit! Yeah. I wish they would do one for 1 through 6.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. I don't know if all of them had a strategy guide. I'm sure some of them.
Well, no, these were newly written guides.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't reprints.
No, the one I seen said it was like basically 1 for 1. Like even some of the mistakes in it were the same. The one that they fixed was 9. They took all the online stuff out and just put it in, if I remember correctly.
Oh, and maybe that's why I got that impression, because that's the one that I used.
They
was when I
fixed
played
that
9
one a
back
little
in
bit.
2020.
Yes, I remember you telling me. Yeah, I think they fixed that one, but I think the other ones are like basically one for one,
ones.
basically the same thing. I could be wrong. Wrong, but that was the impression I got.
I wish I had them unpacked. I would go look at them and
right?
check real quick.
Yeah. That's I was looking at that for reasons. I've been thinking about some things for streaming, and then I was like, oh, that would be. And then I was like, I'm not gonna do that for not for that. That's a little much.
Yeah. I just have it in my head that anybody who listens to A Gamer Looks at 40 just hates it whenever I come on. It's just like, the mean part of my brain. But legit, people are going to fucking hate me like after like my Final Fantasy VII stuff starts airing.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Bill seemed taken aback at some of the spiciness.
I believe it. Yeah, that's Yars Rising. I can't believe we ended on Final Fantasy there, but why not?
I mean, look, are you really surprised it's us?
No, I'm not. I'm not at all surprised. Yeah, you know what? Speaking of like books, I'll just go into this now. The other thing I've been doing kind of in between all this stuff.
Wait.
Books. Hold on.
Books, check them out.
I actually had that one highlighted and made sure that I looked at it beforehand. Yes. I have actually been looking at some books. My friend who got me Street Fighter comics has set me on the darkest path of collecting all of them now.
I felt that was the goal when he gifted you those.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He knew what he was doing, and it has worked. I think I'm just about got all of them now, including like some of the art books and shit. There was a swimsuit issue volume 2 that I had to get. I have the first one. I almost bought it again because since it came out, it changed covers. And I like the new cover better than the other cover.
Oh,
the other
no,
cover
that is a path you need not tread.
Yeah, no, I know. I talked myself out of that. I was like, no, Justin, you have it already. It's fine. Yeah. Oh, the new one has Chun-Li on the cover, and it's really nice. I mean, the old one does too, but it's just not as good. It's not good.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I've been getting a lot of those. Like Udon put out Darkstalkers comics, and I was like, yep, I better get that, because then there's also a Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers comic, so I had to get that. And then there's a bunch of like Origins ones. They have like Akuma Origins and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, yeah, why not? Fuck it, man. We're just down this rabbit hole. There was one that I looked up that I had to actually like shell out money for because it was actually hard to find. It wasn't like crazy or anything, but it was like more than what I would want to pay, or more than the other ones were. And that was Super Street Fighter Volume 1. Because it was, I don't know, it's just, you can't find it anymore. I don't know what it is. Like, you can find Volume 2, no problem. It's right there. But Volume 1, gone. Can't find it. But I got, it was fine. It was just slightly more expensive. But I'm getting all this shit now. So I started reading some of them. And that's actually what kicked off, like, me just being like, fuck it, I'm getting all of them, was I started reading. So I read Chun-Li Legends, which was kind of fun.
Wait, isn't that the name? No,
yes,
Street Fighter.
No,
it was Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
Yes,
right?
yes, you are. Yes, but you're in the ballpark. You're in the ballpark. Yeah, the terrible movie. I've never actually seen it, and I feel like I should at some point, just because it'll be funny.
It's like maybe distance yourself from that.
Oh man,
however you can.
Yeah, no. But the Street Fighter Legends it's Chun-Li. I'm not gonna fucking dig it out and look up what the actual title is. Legends Chun-Li. So I don't know how much of it. Like, I know from what I've read, like on a Wikipedia thing about the comics, because I was like, are these like canon or what's the deal? Like, is this just like, and it's kind of a mixture of both. Like, some of it are the events as described. Like, one of the ones that I read that I'll talk about in just a second was like, this is what happened in Street Fighter Alpha. Like, these are the events that took place. And I was like, okay, that all checks out. This one is like a prequel to all that. It's like Chun-Li when she's just starting out as a cop. And she has a friend who doesn't like Shadow Lu, and her dad is alive. So it's like, okay, interesting.
I wonder what's going to happen.
I wonder what could possibly go wrong. But no, actually, it's funny. The spoilers of the dad doesn't die in that comic. That doesn't happen till later. Yeah, no, it's weird. There's so Dan is in the comic. Of all the characters that I would not associate with Chun-Li, Dan is in the comic, and they basically give a reason for why Sagat loses his eye. And
I mean, didn't Dan's dad do that? Isn't
yes,
that how
that
Sagat kills Dan's dad?
Yes, that is it. Yes, that is what happens. I did not know that.
Look,
these are things
Sagat
I didn't know.
Gets really pissed off if you do like permanent damage to him. Okay,
yeah,
like,
no, he's not okay with it.
He has a murder boner for you after that.
Very upset. He's very upset. No, like it's basically like Sagat goes and gets because Dan's dad's not going to pay him protection money, and then Sagat kicks the shit out of him, and then he gets cocky, and then Dan's dad takes his eye, and then Sagat murders him immediately afterwards, and that's what kicks off the events of Dan being Dan, I guess.
I still am waiting for them to add Dan's dad to one of the games and have him be actually badass.
Yeah.
Like actually a really good character, not a joke character. I think that would be really cool. I've been waiting for that for years.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
But yeah, it was a pretty fun read. Sagat was trying to steal some statues for Bison. That's what it was. It was the whole story. And then they didn't do it. Because then one of the statues showed Sagat the future of Ryu kicking the shit out of him, and he was like, I can't let anybody see this. And then he fucking destroys them. They're real dumb. I love them. They're not as bad as like I thought they would be, but they're nothing great or anything. But every time I read them, I'm like, these are actually not. They're kind of entertaining. They're pretty all right. I like this. I don't know what it is.
There's enough juice in the Street Fighter lore to prop up a comic. Like, I do think up until I think the last couple like stuff that Mortal Kombat had a more interesting overall thing. But I think that as I've gotten older and matured, and Mortal Kombat has not matured at all, like, and it's just kind of seems content to do the same shit every time. Like, I'm less less interested in what they're doing. Like I saw the trailer for like the new season of DLC where it's like, you know, Havoc is like the main villain, which is just a like that was objectively dumb character to begin with.
That was the end stinger of the story in Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, that man, Havoc's gonna be the main. I was like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Like, it instantly was like, I don't care about that. I don't know where you're going with this or what you think you're doing, but that's terrible.
I think that's my big problem with Mortal Kombat in general is that, like, even now, like, so many of the designs are just, like, stuck in, like, 90s edge.
Yeah.
And, like, can't break out of it.
Some of that's fun. To a point. Sometimes that's fun. You can have fun with that.
When it's every character and like you don't see characters like really kind of evolving, and you know, we've talked about it on other things. Like I wish they would go with like a completely different aesthetic. I would love it if they leaned way harder into the like Shaw Brothers like grindhouse kung fu movie.
That could be cool.
Thing. Yeah, like complete with sound effects and maybe even like make it look like they're badly dubbed and stuff like that. Like you could do some really neat stuff with Mortal Kombat. I just don't think they are.
They probably never will either. NetherRealm, you know,
it makes too much money.
It makes too much money. They have a style. They're just not going to do anything. Probably
if they haven't tried to improve like their animation after all this time.
They're not.
Why would they try?
Why would they try? The game's going to sell. People are going to buy them. Yeah, who cares? Anyway, the other one I read was Kami Legends, which was like way in the distance of the timeline somewhere. And that was I think it's like right before Street Fighter 5, because it describes how they bring Bison back.
Okay.
And it's just the dumbest series of events I've ever seen, where it's just like, let's do a series of bad ideas to get all these people into place so that we can somehow resurrect Bison. And it stars that Fang dude who was in, okay. It's a whole thing. It was it was fine for what it was. Really stupid. The one that I really liked was the one that basically described Alpha, which was Classic. Yeah, Street Fighter Classic Part 1. I think I don't remember how far into the Street Fighter series that stuff goes, but there's 3 volumes of it. They're pretty thick, and there was like 100 issues of the comic as a whole. So
wow, okay,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Alpha has, I think, the best overall like storytelling of
it's
any
actually
of the Street Fighter games.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Like it basically, like I actually never really, as much as I played Alpha 3 and I played a couple of the other ones too. Like, I never really knew what was going on or why some of the characters were there. And this kind of actually helped put a grip on some of that stuff for me. Because, like the dolls and stuff like that. Like, I didn't really realize, like, Cammy was kind of what they were. Like, you can kind of guess, I guess, that she's like,
she's supposed to be, like, the best one of them, right?
Yes.
Like the other dolls are kind of like not quite finished.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the long and the short of it. She's Killer Bee. She's a badass and gonna do stuff. But then that Rose character is there, and Rose basically is like, "Hey, what if you just weren't this now, and you're a real girl? Go do that." And then they get into the British military somehow, which the requirements to get into the British military apparently are just, hey, you showed up and took down a tank, so that's cool, you're in.
I mean, I feel that if you can just take down a tank single-handedly, you should just be admitted in any military.
Well, it's not even the military; it's MI6. So,
or yeah, whatever. You know, I feel like you're qualified. Like, the rest we can teach you on the fly.
Yeah, that's kind of what they go with. But also, she's like this girl that's like, hey, who are you? I don't know. I'm just here. It's like, we'll deal with that another time. Don't worry about it. Like, there's no problem here. Nothing bad could possibly come of your lost memory. The funnest revelation I had was I never realized who Charlie actually was. Do you know who Charlie? Like, he's the Guile clone.
Oh,
basically, what? Yeah, Charlie.
Oh, you mean as far as mechanics go?
Yes, this mechanics go. He's not a clone of Guile.
If I remember correctly, he was like a military buddy of Guile.
Yes,
that was going after Shadaloo, and then actually fought Bison and died.
Yes, he did fight. Well, okay, so this is how it goes down. It basically saves Guile from like what is implied to be Vietnam. That's strongly what I got the vibe of. I was like, okay, so Charlie gets sent in. They leave Guile behind, and he's the one man who goes and just beats everybody up and saves Guile from Vietnam. So now they're friends, and then Charlie goes and tries to do something with Shadaloo, and then he gets mind controlled. So that's a whole thing. And so Guile and Chun-Li now are trying to find Charlie, and they find him, and then he's a bad guy now, and then he sees his own dog tags, and then he's a good guy, and then he fights Bison, and they both kill each other, I guess. Sort of implied that that's what happens. Although you don't know, because you have to remain. It has to remain a mystery if Bison actually died.
Because Charlie in 5 is kind of like, he was kind of like, basically, isn't he like kind of zombified? Like they kind of brought him back to life with weird Shadaloo shit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how that all goes down. Like he has he's missing like part of his face, and he's like stitched together and shit like that. Yeah, I'm not 100% how that goes down. I have the Street Fighter 5 comic on the way, so we'll see what happens. I'm not quite there yet. But but yeah, I never realized like Charlie was the mentor. I always thought it was the other way around.
Because that was the thing is that like Guile's like Street Fighter 2 arc was always like trying to get revenge for the death of his friend.
But I didn't realize that he was the mentor of Guile, though. Like, I always thought they were just like either buddies or whatever, but like, no, he's the guy training Guile. And I was like,
I guess I didn't know that part of it.
That's what that was. I never realized that part of their relationship. Like, he's basically the responsible, like, he's the one that taught him all of Guile's moves and shit like that. In fact, there's like a thing that implies like, when Guile does a sonic boom, he's like, "Oh, you still need 2 hands for that?" Like, I was like, okay. "Oh, that's kind of fun."
That's
yeah. I was like, "That's a good little reference there." They're fun. They're fun little stupid comics. Like, they have like the Akuma shows up and kills Ryu's master. It's a whole fucking thing, you know. They're doing their thing. Sakura is my favorite character in the whole thing, though. She's great. She just shows up and is like, "Yep, you're gonna teach me how to do this, and it's gonna be great."
I love her as a character, and I love her as a fighter. Like she's one of my favorite characters in Alpha 3 and Street Fighter 4. And I want her in 6, but I know they're just going to make her a schoolgirl again, and I'm waiting for them to have her grow up.
In 5 they did. They made her. She was like working at an arcade. Like, she had an actual job and shit.
She still looked the same. Like,
not really.
I thought.
I mean, kind of, but not really. Like, there was an arc. Like, she's doing other stuff now. Like, she's not still in school. I want to see like grown up ass Sakura. And she's kind of like. It would make sense for that character, though, because they're kind of like, they kind of are a slacker that just wants to learn how to fight better, I guess.
Yeah.
So like, I guess they would just get a job in an arcade.
No, that part's fine. I just remembered like the design being like, okay, she's not in a schoolgirl outfit anymore, but to me, like, just like visually, she still looked like
that will
like a
probably always be part of her design to some degree.
And, you know, I just wish that they would age her up a bit. But I feel that way. Like, I really like what Tekken does, right? They have aged their characters up over the years, and I think it's really cool. And then you have like the kids of the characters kind of come up. You know, like, it's kind of the difference between Marvel and DC comics. I always liked that in DC, they obviously still do the whole thing that Marvel does, where they're constantly like dialing everything back. But there is this kind of like, there's a next generation, right? Like, you have, you know, Batman has Robin, and then Robin becomes, you know, Batman, and, you know, like you have like Kid Flash, and then he becomes the Flash, and you know, there's kind of like this sense of legacy and taking on the mantle of the sidekick taking on the mantle and going forward. But then, of course, invariably, you know, there's some sort of mass reset, and then everybody's back to normal. They
kind of try to do fighting games. It's hard to do it sometimes, though, because people get really attached to fucking characters and shit. Like, they tried in 3 in Third Strike or in Street Fighter 3, where they were like, here's the next generation of these guys, and everybody's like, I don't know, I kind of hate them.
Well, that's because those characters are just bad, and also like they weren't supposed to be Street Fighter characters initially anyway.
Yeah, like, but it still happened in like Mortal Kombat when they did the Combat Kids thing. Soul Calibur
and I liked the Combat Kids.
Yeah, Soul Calibur tried.
Wooly and Pat were having a really good conversation about that, because Wooly is in my camp where he's like, no, just like let the characters evolve, and like maybe you have a character that inherits moves from someone, and Pat's like, no, but seriously, people want to be Bison. Like, that, and that's what it comes down to.
With the whole Bison thing,
or with any character. That was just the example.
Yeah, with Bison, at least it kind of makes sense, because like somebody's always fucking trying to resurrect him or whatever. So I guess it does make sense that he can just kind of keep coming back, even though he apparently just sucks and they defeat him anyway. But it's fine, you know.
But I think that character in particular, who his whole thing is that he wants to, like, you know, that he has these like other bodies to like ready to hop into, and that he never does.
Yeah. No, why would he do that?
I don't mind Bison being in Street Fighter 6. I just wish it was like a different body.
It was a different yeah. No, I agree. I think
same personality, cool. Same name, same moveset, but you know, just like because they did that with Seth, right? Like in Street Fighter 5, Seth had a totally different body. It was a female body.
Yeah.
Even though
I remember that
character is lame to me either way. I just think it's a very boring design.
I do remember that now that you mention it.
I petitioned to get Seth, Gil, and Urien just removed from Street Fighter wholeheartedly. Like whole cloth. They're so boring.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the comics will make them interesting. I don't know.
You never know.
I'll try to read them and see. Like I said, they don't give you like enough sometimes in the games, but it's hard to say. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying the dumb little comics. I'm kind of reading them kind of slowly, but still doing.
Dude, that's what I've been doing. I've been very slowly going through my X-Men stuff.
Yeah.
I mainly read it on like in the bathroom. That's why part of the reason why it's slow. But also just like I'm also, this is the last volume of X-Men that I have before there's a gap. Yeah. And I'm waiting for them to reprint omnibuses, omnibuy of the stuff that I'm missing. So like once I finish this volume, like I've got like one more. I got the rest of my New Mutants to read, and then I'm kind of tapped out for a while.
Oh, here's one. This isn't a comic, but this is in the Udon collection of things. Let me hold on. Let me pull it up here because I forgot the name of it. It's just the Art of Street Fighter. So
it's nice,
and it's just a big book, and it goes by artist.
Oh, cool.
So like the first like whole thing is like Akiman art and what they did. And then the next one is, I forget the guy's name, but he did, a lot of the other half of like the Street Fighter 2 art. And then it goes into the Alpha guy and all his stuff. And it's showing all the stuff that he did. And then it shows like, it goes into the next guy who did the like, to me, iconic, like, painting of or drawing or whatever it is of Akuma and Ryu from like Alpha 3, I believe, or whatever.
Whichever. No,
that was 2. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh,
yes, the face off. That it's great. I love that art. But yeah, like and it gives like little stories about the art and stuff like that. Like one of the Akiman ones that cracked me up because it was like Sagat's in like character art basically, and like in that art like there's basically where the character Dan came from. It's just a guy in a pink gi, and like their arm is like dead. Completely destroyed, and he's just like that his arm just looks so in so much pain there. It's like because
that was their jab at SNK.
Yes.
And then that started the whole thing. That's an iconic piece of art.
It's cool. This is a really cool one. Like I've been kind of going through it slowly. It's just really kind of fun to look at. But yeah, it's thick as shit. But yeah, that's my Street Fighter books. I'm getting there. There's more on the way. Oh God.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
What's up, bro? Are you tired of having to recharge your earbuds when you're in the middle of some gnarly playlist, getting into the latest Bo Jorgen podcast, or jacking it to some sick hentai? You should get ConCons. They're the first disposable earbuds that you never have to charge. Why? Because you just throw them out when they're out of juice. What? Are you worried about the environment? Fuck it. We're already like 50% microplastics. Just burn it all down, bro. ConCons. Convenience is the most important thing.
I guess piggybacking off the Street Fighter thing, I've also played the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. We looked it up before because I couldn't remember the name of it.
Yeah. They said it couldn't be done.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a really good collection. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it other than that. Like, I'm like, no, it's just really good.
Did you see that people want refunds because they're getting their asses kicked by Justin Wong online on MVC2?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Like he posted today, like, he's number 1 on the leaderboard.
Oh, I believe
it's not even the person who's number 2 is not even close.
I believe it.
As far as points, people are going up against him and just getting bodied and then just like not wanting to play anymore.
I'm terrible at all of them.
Me too.
Yeah, I love like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of my favorites. Like and going back and playing it's really fun because I kind of remember as I'm going like was this character any good? And then I pick them, and I'm like, no, they were bad. They were terrible, actually. Like, I love Chun-Li as a character. She's bad in like all of these games. Like, they just put her in there because she's popular. I'm like, you can't.
Her Kikosho is like really cool though.
It's cool.
Like, I love how all the Street Fighters get like really augmented like special moves in the game. Like Ryu's fireball is so massive.
Oh yeah, it's practically a beam.
Yeah, but his super.
Oh yeah, and the regular one, yeah. Like it's also quite big and
3
fast.
times the normal size.
Oh yeah. They're fun. They're really fun to play.
I'm getting it mainly for X-Men: Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Those are the ones that I played the most, and I have the most affinity for.
Yeah.
Infinity. That's not the word I said, but it made me think of it.
There you go.
But yeah, it's still really cool.
It's really good.
Once I think X-Men versus Street Fighter was just right for me as far as speed, and then after that is when it starts to get kind of out of control for me, where I can't really keep up.
Oh yeah, well, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is like kind of interesting to go back to because when I played it back then, I didn't realize how like simplified the controls actually were. Like, I guess for whatever reason, it just didn't click in my brain where it's just like, yeah, no, it's a 4-button game. And like, there's other stuff like they've kind of like added like a button, and this might be collection specific because I definitely don't remember it from when I played it back then, but now there's like a button like, hey, this will just do the super move. You don't got to mess with it.
Oh, that's definitely new.
Yeah, that's definitely new. Like I know, like I'm like that was not there. But like you can if you know how to do them, you can still do them. And that's
woke controls come for us all eventually.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if it doesn't always do the one you want it to do sometimes when you press that button. So knowing how to do it is probably the better way to go. That I've already run into that a few times when I press the button, like, no, not that one. That's not the one I wanted to hit. Okay, well, all right, we need to actually start putting in inputs. But yeah, no, it's super fun to go back to, man. Like, I beat it once. I forgot. Like, I was like, what is the final boss of this game again? Like, because I remember I used to have that final boss down to like a science.
Onslaught, right?
For no, that is Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I think. I can't remember. MBC
Apocalypse
2
is
yes, this is a fun game actually. What is the final boss of all these games? Abyss is MBC 2.
Which one?
Abyss is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I don't think it's actually a character in anything. It's just a green ooze man.
I guess I never beat Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like in the arcade or anything. Or
you're not really missing. You're not really missing much. There's no.
I never bought it on Dreamcast. That's right.
Yeah, you're not really missing much. I played the shit out of that game on Dreamcast. The only thing I wish you could do, I wish they kind of had like the Dreamcast version of the game. I know that sounds dumb.
No, you're not wrong. So I was really excited because they also announced another Capcom Fighting Collection 2.
Yes.
That's going to have like the Power Stone games, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But a big thing for me is it's going to have the Dreamcast version of Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Okay.
Which has everything I think that the PlayStation version did and then some.
I'm into it.
And that's the version of Alpha 3 that I want to play.
That's the one I want to play too. Yep. Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm really excited. It had something else in it too that I was like, oh shit. It was
Project Justice.
Yeah.
Is in there. I wish they had Rival Schools 1 in there, but
yeah, I wish they did too. That's it wasn't that one though. It was it's what game I used to rent on PlayStation. It's the Galaxy, the Star Sword, Plasma Sword. Yeah, that's it. I got it there at the end. That I used to rent that one every now and then, and I loved that game. I'm sure it's not,
but this one is actually the Dreamcast sequel, not the PS1 one.
I'm down. That's fine.
It's basically a Dreamcast Capcom collection. Now that I think about it,
yes, pretty much. But yeah, no, I wish they had the Dreamcast version of MBC2 just because, like, I would have loved to go back through that just the way I did back then, where it was like, I'm going to keep playing this over and over again because every time I beat it, I unlock a new character, and it was like super fun to see who I got this time. It was almost like a gacha machine in that game because there were so many, and you're just like, oh, who's it going to be this time? Oh, it's Bone Claws Wolverine. Now that's kind of disappointing actually, but that's fine. Whatever. I don't know, there was a certain novelty to it. And then like just assembling my team, that was one game. I'm not a score chaser, but I would just sit there for hours and try to beat my own score in the arcade mode. Stuff like that. Like it was super fun.
Yeah. Did you play or did you check out that Punisher arcade game at
Yes,
all?
I did a little bit.
I've never played that one before, and I really want to.
It's neat. It's pretty neat. I didn't get all the way through it or anything. I kind of played up to a certain point. I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Like it has like gun mechanics and stuff. It's kind of the best gunplay for a beat 'em up. I will definitely give it that.
Cool. Yeah. I've seen people like, I think I've seen like Matt McMuscles play some of it. I was like,
yeah,
this has got more to it than I expected it to.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I ever even saw it in the arcade once.
Nor have I.
Yeah.
Nor have I. But no, it's pretty neat.
Really, I man, as I've said many times, Capcom is my favorite overall game developer. But like they are just like this era of them is just so great. And
it's great.
The fact that they're like committed to like getting a lot of their older games like up and running on modern hardware.
This is one I never would have expected them to put out.
Yeah, dude, like at this point, I'm like, oh, Aliens versus Predator is on the table, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it's a possibility.
Absolutely, yeah, it absolutely.
Because the only way that they re-released it is, I don't know if you remember that big ass, like it was like a Capcom logo that had joysticks built into it.
Yeah,
it was on that thing.
Yeah,
it was, and I think that was only released in Europe.
Yeah, I do remember that thing. Yeah, yeah, it was neat.
Which, look, I am a stupid man. I considered it.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
I believe you. I wholeheartedly believe you on that. Yeah. It's a good collection. I've tinkered around with, I think, just about all of them, just to like, let's see what this was. And then I'll pick Rogue if she's there, because that's, as soon as Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was the first one I booted up. And I was like, I forget who my team was. And then I was like, I seen Rogue. She's like one of the first ones up there. I was like, right, it was definitely Rogue.
Oh,
I played a lot of fucking Rogue. Like that was my character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care about fighting game tiers. So
I just like to have
super fun. Yeah.
For me in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, it was Ryu and Mega Man.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And then on X-Men vs. Street Fighter, it was either Ryu and Cyclops or Rogue and Cyclops.
Right.
I really love Cyclops in that game. And then Captain America on
Captain America is always
Marvel
fun.
Superheroes.
Yeah, he's always fun.
Yeah. Charging Star.
Stars and Stripes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Spider-Man is also a real fun one.
Yes. Yeah, he's fun in those games. He's a vibe. It's good. Yeah, good collection.
And man, like the sprite art in those games is so gorgeous. I wish that they would do a new sprite-based game. I don't even. It doesn't have to be a fighting game. I just think it'd be really interesting to see a modern sprite.
It would be cool.
Capcom game.
It would be cool. They put like they do the filter stuff for these games because they are like they're basically those games, and like if you don't put a filter on them, they look weird. I took it off once. I was like, oh no, God, put that back on.
Yeah, see, I
which is interesting.
I like the really sharp pixels.
Really interesting. Yeah, I'm of the other mindset. I'm like, no, that the filter is what's meant to be here. Like that is.
I'll have to check it out because like I have an 85-inch TV, so it might be a bit much blowing it up to that.
Right.
Without the filter on.
Right.
So we'll see when I get it. I ordered the physical edition, and I have no idea when that's supposed to come. Me neither.
I did too, and I did it, and I'm gonna leave it in whatever packaging it comes in, and just in case, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a break glass just in case this gets delisted. Because
yes, exactly.
This is never happening again. There's no way.
No. But yeah, they give you more options for just like one filter. Like they have like a couple different ones, which is pretty nice. Most of them look pretty good. Good collection. You can turn the timers up and down and the difficulty and stuff like that. Even though they're like arcade games, there's a practice mode in all of them for all of them. Mm-hmm. Can't complain too much, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty
apparently,
cool.
I know you're not going to mess with it, but apparently the online is actually
I'm
really
sure it is.
solid.
I'm sure it's great. Yeah. Like, it's awesome. Like I was very impressed. it's going to be one of those games that like probably just stays installed on my computer for a while, because like I'll just occasionally just boot it up and be like, yeah, let's just play some Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for like 20 minutes and then turn it off.
Yeah. X-Men versus Street Fighter is a very nostalgic game for me because the year that I started working at Game Fellas, it had just like that November 97, it had just come out on the Saturn in Japan and they had the import version. And I remember, I'm going to get choked up. It was like one of my first days, like after we had closed, and I was talking to my boss, Ben, like just about the you know, kind of getting me up, like acclimated to the store and whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was facing the front of the store and he was facing the back of the store talking to me, and we still had the TVs on, and he was like, man, like, look at how good Juggernaut looks, like, animates. I love my Saturn. And I looked back and it was just like running the demo. And like, I just think about that sometimes because like that was our store, right? We all love video games so much. And, and like, you know, the fact that like my boss would like having this like conversation about work with me. And then he's like, sorry, I have to just like marvel at like the Juggernaut sprite for a second. Like,
yeah, I get it. Oh man. Marvel vs. Capcom collection. Pretty good.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
I'm really glad that is a thing.
Me fucking too.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm so happy they're putting some of the stuff out that they are right now.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely.
Power Stone's another one. I'm like, they'll never put out any fucking thing for Power Stone.
That and any of the rival school stuff I thought was never going to be seen
I mean, I still want all the rest of them, but I'm right there with you. Like, and Plasma Sword, I was like, that's another one. They'll never fucking put that out. That's a fucking, come on. And I'm like, oh man, that's super cool.
Yeah. They've got so many cool characters. That's why I know a lot of people are like, oh, maybe this means that they're going to get together for a Marvel vs. Capcom 5. And I'm like, fuck that. Capcom versus Capcom.
5. Yeah, Capcom versus Capcom.
That's what you want. Like, there's so many Capcom characters that they've never put into a game like that. Oh man, Maximo and like Jubei from Onimusha 2 and like well no, I think they did do the Monster Hunter in
they were in Infinite. Yes.
Yeah. But I know I'm completely blanking on characters right now, but there's a ton of characters like that have still never like made it into a game like that. They're great
characters in 2 that I'm like, I have no fucking idea what game this character is from.
I think some of them are from like Japanese only games.
It might be. There's like he's like a cactus man. I can't remember what their name is.
He was supposed to be from.
Even I watched Matt Muscles play it, and I was like, he's pretty knowledgeable about video games for the most part. And he's like, I have no idea what this game this is from. And I'm like, wow, if he doesn't know, then no one fucking knows, because I don't know. It blows my mind. There's Ruby Rose too, something like that.
Oh, the pirate.
She's like the pirate girl. I don't know what she's from.
Did they make new characters for that game and not tell us?
I could definitely see if she's like the canon character for that or something. If there's like some hidden story that I don't know about in that, and that's a whole thing. But at the same time, she could totally be from a game. You know what? Maybe I'll try to look it up. But yeah, that's been my week, Julian. These are the things I did.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find any Ruby Rose.
It just sounds like a porn star name.
It is an Australian model and actress, so.
I love Ruby Rose. Actually, they're cool.
Yeah,
they were in Orange Is the New Black and the last Triple X movie, which I thought was actually a really cool movie.
It's also an American rapper named that. Maybe I have her name wrong. It's something Ruby though.
I thought it was Ruby Rose, but Ruby Hart. Is it Ruby Hart?
Might be Ruby Hart. Hold on. Now we're too far in.
MVC2.
Yeah, that's what I had to type in. Marvel vs. Capcom pirate. Oh, Ruby Hart. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's Wikipedia.
I don't know how my brain does that, but it does that.
Yeah, it was Ruby something.
Well, no, but I remember like once we realized.
Oh yeah. As soon as you said it, I was like, I think you're right. Actually, I think it is Ruby Hart. Original character from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So they are
There
new.
we go.
She and Cable are the main protagonists, because Cable, I think, was new as well.
He was,
if I remember right. Yeah.
It was kind of a big deal that Cable was in there.
Yeah, I remember being psyched that he was in that game.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Okay, so now we know that is from that. I wonder if I can find out where the other one is, but anyway, it doesn't matter. That's been my week, Julian.
Right.
What have you been doing?
Well, before I get into the one game that I've been playing all week, which is Astro Bot, I kind of wanted to talk about I've been doing more stuff with our YouTube channel. I've been working on I put up. I think last week I had talked about I had already put up the review for this bed we made, which is actually doing really well. It is by far, we've got like 160 views on that.
Nice.
And
awesome.
a homophobic comment on it.
Great.
Which is what you want to see.
Perfect. We are killing YouTube right now. It's
I know,
great.
man.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want.
So that is the most viewed thing on our channel so far.
Awesome.
Clipped out our discussion of Star Wars Outlaws and kind of edited it down a little bit more and put that out as a video. And I actually did get some video footage from my PS5 into it for parts of it. But I mainly did the same thing where it was kind of just our heads kind of talking back and forth. But I'm learning how to do stuff in GIMP, which is a free Photoshop type program. And so I was able to take my portrait that John made of me for the show, and I put superimposed heart eyes on it. So when I talked about loving stuff, I would clip to that. And I learned how to make thumbnails with GIMP. And then I put up I clipped out just a little bit of talk because I thought it was funny, talking about how much I hate the robot lady, the dog, and the elementary school kid being part of the party in Persona 3. And I had some more fun editing that. It's very low effort and scuffed because I couldn't figure out how to make I couldn't find good screenshots of the characters because finding pictures online sucks now. Justin, I don't know if you're aware of this because everything is now coded in WebV or AVIF or something and stuff doesn't read it.
Oh boy, do I know.
Yes, or WebP or whatever. So
yeah, you gotta really kind of dig around for stuff.
Yeah, and I couldn't find
tough.
much that was good for those particular characters.
Yeah, and also they do the WebP bullshit. That's probably a more of a character thing. Trying to find stuff like that. The one thing that I always run into is this is a WWE creation thing when I'm trying to find images of stuff, just stock shit. It's just everything's a fucking stock thing and has a thing over it that clearly shows that you took this off of fucking Google Images, you fucking asshole. So but I learned how to get rid of that stuff because I'm a dick. Anyway, hold on, while I'm interrupting you, let me just say for the record, Ruby Heart, Amingo, Sun, who is the monkey girl, if you remember her, and Abyss are all 4 original characters from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Ooh. We've solved the mystery.
But Sun, not necessarily an original character, because there is a game called Sun in Japan that I think that character is based on.
It might be. This is fandom, and they're wrong a lot. So that's that's
I think, but the character in Sun, I think it's 2 little characters, so I think it's more of a reference.
It might be. Yes.
Yeah. I just had to be that dick.
No, that's fine. No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Actually, no, but the YouTube, I just want to say, it's fun learning new stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to take a moment I want to talk more about the YouTube stuff in a second, but also just to kind of toot the horn of my co-host Justin Ham, because as we've been doing this show in particular, it's forced me to get better on so many things. You have forced me to get better.
Okay.
I've noticed that I'm faster. I'm faster on the draw with
that's good
things. Like it's easier for me to come up with quips or back and forth things. Dennis Robertson he posted in our Discord. He watched the Bad Ben episode of Retrofits that we did.
Okay.
And that I think is the funniest I have ever been on the internet. And I realized that I could not have done that if we had not been doing this show.
Yeah, probably.
Because everything that, like, it's like week to week, it's like, you know, like, because I never know what you're going to unleash, and then like having to like kind of react to that on the fly. Like,
yeah, good luck.
I think that's what people don't realize about the show. When Justin debuts a new bit or a new character, I have no idea what it is.
I don't even tell him. I'll sometimes he's lucky if I even tell him I have a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I kind of do the same thing to him. Like it's there's been a little bit of like an almost like versus wolf kind of antagonist thing where it's like, all right, fucker. Like let me see if I can like trip you up next week with this thing,
which is fun.
It is fun. It's a blast. And and you know, and on top of that, right? When I'm making like the new bits and stuff like that, like I've been teaching myself like new audio engineering things.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I've learned how to make things sound like old movie trailers and old TV, and I've learned how to do like reverb and echo on stuff to make it but make it sound good.
Yeah.
Right? Mixing certain things to make the show sound more interesting. And that's kind of what I've been doing, you know, like now with the YouTube stuff. It's like the stuff is like very poorly done because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now, but I'm intending to like improve and learn more and do more. And it is funny though, because like, just like kind of, you know, you never know how YouTube works or anything like that. Like, the Hololive thing, the first clip that I put up did really well, but then it kind of stopped at a certain point. On the back end of YouTube, it will tell you the likes that you have, but it won't tell you how many dislikes you have. It'll just tell you the percentage of like to dislike. And the first thing that we ever got dislikes on, Justin, was that Hololive video and the episode that it comes from. Someone did not like what I said about fandom, I think. But people fucking hate the fact that we love Star Wars Outlaws. That's thing's got like 1 like, and then but the percentage of like to dislike is 16%.
Awesome.
People are just like dislike bombing that thing because we have the audacity to say that we really like this game.
That's good.
I find
that's fun.
Hilarious. But yeah, you know, it's like as I'm kind of like editing episodes, it's like I'm like, no, that was actually a good discussion. Let me clip that out and put it off to the side for later. And then throughout the week, I'm kind of like putting it together and putting out the videos. And then of course, like once I write a review for the Patreon page, then I record myself reading it and then go in and edit a video for that. So Astro Bot will be the next one because that's the next game that I've finished. But I do like a friend of mine, like, you know, she watched the This Bed We Made one, and she's like, yeah, you sound like you're reading a book report. I was like, yeah, I need to get better on like the presentation of the reading of it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to, you know, I'm trying to like enunciate and not fuck it up. But
right. No, I get it.
But it feels a little stiff because, you know, I've only done 2 of them so far. But it's just, it's cool. And there's this one thing I've had bookmarked for a while, which is some website where you can learn how to code, and they do it sort of like an RPG where it's all gamified.
Oh,
and
cool.
I've been like kind of hovering around that thing for a while, and it's like, yeah, they do say that like as you get older, you know, it's important to learn new things and you know, keep your brain active. And I think, you know, with us like constantly moving on to like from game to game, I think that actually does a lot of that heavy lifting for us. But at the same time, it's like, it's been very exciting, like putting this thing together and then like uploading and being like, I did that. And like seeing people actually have watched it. And, you know, like, we, you know, haven't really gotten any comments other than like the homophobic one.
That's
for
fun.
This Bed We Made. But, you know, like it's almost like a rite of passage, right?
My most watched video is the one of Beauties They're All After Me.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it has like 80 something copyright claims. So I think it's just everybody who had a copyright claim on it that came to see where their thing was.
Okay.
Like it's that's my theory on it. Cause I'm like, I don't feel like they just fucking just stole all of the music out of it. Like it's hilarious how much it's insane how many. It's nothing crazy the amount of people, but yeah, 82.
Wow.
That's a lot of, that's more views than anything else on here. And yeah, every time I look at it, I'm just like, let's see, how many copyright claims does it actually have? Oh, shut up, me. Shut up. I don't want to hear me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different copyright claims on the whole thing. It's just all music because they just because like I uploaded it was like 2 things. I was like, all right, yeah, whatever, man. I'm just not gonna. I don't care. I'm not trying to make money off of this.
Yeah.
I just want it here for posterity's sake. And then it just kept growing as I looked at it. It's just more people have come to claim, like, oh, I also had music on here. I'm like,
maybe you should maybe go talk to the people that made the game.
Yeah, right? That's what I keep thinking, which is really funny to me. That shit cracks me up. It's always kind of fun to see what the hell comes up. Like, I think the newest one I had some copyright claim on it too. Let me look at that. I'm actually kind of curious now. I feel like it was, and I'm not sure where it was. It might have been one of the songs in Thank Goodness You're Here, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Or it was one of the Taxi songs, which that game was bad. Oh no, I'm pretty sure this is all the Taxi songs. Yeah, this is all the Taxi songs, 100%. There's now, this started off as one thing, and now it has grown to 5 or 6 different things. And looking at them, I'm like, Thrash Metal Riff 1. Yeah, that's the Taxi game. That fucking game. Oh god, don't play it. It's not very good. It was. I thought it'd be fun for a stream, and then it turned out I was like, oh no, this is actually pretty boring. Anyway, YouTube. Julian's doing good at it.
Yeah, we'll see. Like it's hopefully it's mainly I'm hoping that it helps like grow the show. Mm-hmm. And I think like having clips from the show in a more digestible form could hopefully like get people there eventually. We'll see. And then like as far as like the video reviews, like honestly like Weston really like inspired me to start writing again because he's been doing so well with Big Nerd Gaming and stuff like that. And I'm like, I used to really like reviewing and I haven't done it in years. And then also was thinking about like how, Jeff Gerstmann still does that for his Patreon just because he enjoys reviewing games and he doesn't really have a place to do it anymore.
Right.
And then I was like, let's go one step further and also make a video version. Why the hell not? So like, I already have like footage on my PS5 of Astro Bot to work with for when I do that review, which leads me to Astro Bot, which I finished literally like minutes before we sat down to get everything ready for the show.
Right.
I have not completed it 100% yet, but I did roll credits and like see the last level.
Hell yeah.
And now that I'm like, because last week I'd only played like 3 levels. And so now that I've seen most of it, like there's still levels that I haven't unlocked yet.
Yeah.
That game is incredible, Justin.
I believe you.
Yeah. As far as platforming, the controls are just so perfect, which I felt about Astro's Playroom as well. But seeing it extended out into a full game instead of just like kind of more of a bite-sized thing. Right. It holds up. And like the power-ups that you get are so fun and so cool. And the level design is Nintendo quality. 100%.
I agree. So I haven't played it. I don't know if I will. I'm kind of tempted by it. I'm not going to lie, which says a lot about it, I think. But what I've watched was like really cool and inspired, I would say.
Yes.
There's been a couple moments where I watched, I think Alex Navarro play it. And at first I was like, this is going to be one of those things that everybody loves because I've seen so much about it, like just from, channels and stuff I pay attention to. And it's going to be that thing that I don't get. I don't understand why everybody likes it. And then I kept watching it and I kept going, the more it went on, like there was one thing in particular that I don't know if I will even spoil what it was.
I don't want to.
I will not.
Because I know what you're going to say. And so the way that the game is set up is there's these galaxies that have their individual levels.
Yeah.
And then you fight a boss. And when you beat the boss, you rescue a very notable PlayStation character.
Right.
That character then goes off to another level.
Yeah.
And when you go to that level, you play a level that is based mechanically around that character's game. And
that wasn't the thing that convinced me fully. That was the part that convinced me fully. But the thing that got me like actually like, oh no, okay, I get it. Actually, was a different thing. But like, because you're unlocking all these little like PlayStation characters and just characters from games in general. And like the attention to detail on some of that stuff is mind-boggling sometimes.
Yes.
Like it's so cool. Like I seen this one thing, and I was just like, wow, that's like actually spot on.
Yeah.
like that's so good. That was like, and then I paid attention to it.
Do you hear that?
Yep.
Fuck.
Uh-oh.
You're never safe from the Phantom, you fools! Curse you, Phantom! Just leave us alone!
No, they're not gonna do it.
Apparently not, Justin.
No.
Gonna have to talk to Morgan about tightening security or something. I don't know.
You're gonna have to hire a security man.
Maybe. We'll have to figure that out at some point.
You gotta hire a man who has a knife.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe we can talk to him though. Like I feel like knives are, such a final answer.
Well, no, I mean, or maybe they have one of those cool extendable batons.
Okay, yeah.
I have one of those. I forgot I had it, but I have one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can loan it to them.
Yeah.
It's pretty old, but it probably still works fine.
Like Goku's Nyoibo.
Yeah, I bought it at a gun show at some point in my life.
You bought a lot of weird stuff at gun shows.
I bought a lot of weird stuff at gun shows. I was talking.
This is the most Ohio thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I recently was talking to my father, and I was like, you know what I really want to do, like at some point soon, is go to a fucking flea market. So I haven't been to one in forever, and I just had the urge to go to one. Yes,
I have had that urge.
Yeah. I don't. There's something about it. Like I doubt I'll find anything I'm actually interested in, but I just want to go. It's been like years. It's been since probably when I was a teenager since the last time I went.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to I would always I never had money when I went to them, so I would find a bunch of stuff that I was like half interested in but couldn't afford. And now I'm like, no, I could probably buy some things now if I wanted to. Whether I want them anymore, it is a whole different thing. But I just want to go see what they're like.
Other than your statues, you're a fairly digital person.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. I'm curious. Like when I was going to those types of things, they didn't the used games market was practically non-existent. So I'm kind of curious if that's a thing now. I would just...
It is, but the problem is that they're wise to it now. So you're going to end up paying out the nose.
Absolutely. I don't expect to go buy anything. I honestly just want to see what it's like now. That's
15 years ago, you would have been able to get away with some awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
But, now everybody's aware. So.
Yes. Oh, I know. I'm quite certain I will not find anything that I'm like, ooh, I got to get that. But I just kind of want to go see.
To check it out and just see what's what.
Just to see.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, well, next time there's a gun show, I was like, I would go to one. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you because he threw it up there. He's like,
you got to arm yourself to protect the dogs from people that want to eat them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't quite 100% know where Springfield, Ohio is, but you never know.
Yeah.
It could be near me.
I have to know, Justin. That is not an actual serious point of conversation in your household, is it?
I don't even know.
Okay.
It probably was.
I feel that has been a step too far, even for a lot of the hardest of the hardcores.
Yeah, where they're just like, oh, that wasn't good, huh?
It's like, that doesn't sound right. I don't.
Yeah, no, no, that's not quite correct. Not quite correct, but made me laugh.
I do not remember where I was at in my talk of Astro Bot before we were interrupted by the Phantom.
Let's see how good my memory is. Sometimes
we took a kind of lengthy break, and so I was kind of reforming my opinion or my thoughts of what, because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to say about this game.
I remember kind of talking about the robots. They were little guys, and they were guys that you would recognize, but robots. They do cool stuff. I basically was coming around to it by watching stuff that they were doing and how accurate that stuff was. Yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah. Probably my biggest criticism of the game, other than a deeper thing that I'm going to get to in a second, is it never really gets very challenging. I was a little disappointed in that. And like, I've seen other people like complaining about some, like, or not complaining, but saying that like it gets really hard the deeper you get. Maybe I just haven't seen those levels yet, but I've seen most of them.
Have you done the challenge levels? Like the little like circle levels on the outside of them? Okay.
I'm only missing, I haven't done 2 of the X button ones so far. But
you might just be really good at video games, Julian.
I'm not. But so there is a 1 square button level that is legit a bastard. That took me quite a bit to get through. But other than that, like I've kind of flown through the game for the most part. Also, just as a side, I had tweeted this today or yesterday, but you unlock these like in 4 of the galaxies. There's like secret levels that you unlock by basically opening up one of the face buttons. And it kind of has them go out into the galaxy, and then they each have a level.
All right.
And they're very challenging. Well, they're supposed to be challenging levels. Like I said, really, so far, only one of them has been for me.
Right.
But they're color-coded like the face buttons used to be. So X is blue, square is pink, triangle green, circle is red. And I realize there's an entire generation, if not more, of gamers who are playing this game who that doesn't click for them. Like, they don't understand the correlation. And it just kind of made me a little bit sad because it's, I do miss that level of design for game consoles where it's like, now everything has to be like really sleek and sexy, but like, I kind of like a colored face button, right? Like,
I was going to say, I mean, the standard Xbox controller, I think, still has the colored buttons, but maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Like, the black one maybe does, but no. Yeah, they, like, let me pull it up here.
I think you're right. I think the Xbox One controllers do still have the colored buttons.
They still have, like, the buttons.
The letters are colored.
The letters are colored.
Yeah. But I appreciate that.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah. Because they would also do like, certain games where you would do like QuickTime events and stuff like that. Like the really smartly designed ones would also have the colors on them.
Yeah.
So. But it's just a thing. And I really can't sing the praises of this game higher. Like it is one of the best games of the year. It's one of the best reasons to own a PlayStation 5. It made me like excited all over again to own a PlayStation 5. Like, and if anything, it's a double-edged sword because you realize that Astro's Playroom kind of let you see the potential of the PlayStation 5, and then nothing really capitalized on it until Astro Bot 4 years later. Yeah. With a few exceptions, right? Like the Spider-Man games and whatnot. But there are so many games that just do not take full advantage of what the PS5 can do. And I put the controller stuff in with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
where like I was constantly amazed at like just the how granular it gets with the texturing of things when you're walking on them and feeling them, and it does actually like kind of tap into gameplay and stuff like that too. Like when you notice the difference in the texture of a platform, sometimes it's like, oh, there's something here, like, and I can tell because like this feels different.
Right.
Than the rest of the area. And you start to poke around some more, and there it is, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's just very, like, expertly designed. It's so glorious. And I think it does a better job than Sony has done in many years of honoring the legacy of the PlayStation brand, right?
Yeah.
And it's not and I think a lot of people seem to be getting confused, right? Like, a lot of people are, like, blaming Sony because there is a thing to be said, right? Like, you will pick up these little bots that are based on like games from the entire legacy of PlayStation, right? And sometimes it gets crazy as to like how deep they are, and like I have been blown away by certain characters that pop up where it's like, holy shit, no one remembers this.
Right?
This is incredible. Crisis. But it's really kind of amazing. But at the same time, there's a lot of games that are gone, right? Like all these franchises are dead, right?
Yeah, some of them.
And like I saw, and part of that is definitely like Sony, right? Like there's a lot of Sony first party stuff where you see it, it's like, ah, like I wish, like you can't even play that anywhere. And I do think that it's kind of a crime that of the big three, the one company that has like the most accessibility to their back catalog is the company with the least amount of legacy, which is Xbox.
Right. Yeah.
Let's call a spade. Like even Nintendo, right? Like the Switch, like, yeah, you can play some old stuff on the Switch, but Nintendo kind of is happy to like just let that stuff die in the background. A lot of it, or until they decide to resell it to you later on. They'll continue to resell it to you. Mm-hmm. I am not convinced that your digital library from the Switch is going to carry over to the next system. Yeah. I think it should. I think that people are going to fucking riot if it doesn't. Yeah. But I wouldn't put it past them to not do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I hope they're not that dumb, but
I do too.
You never know.
But with the PlayStation stuff, right? A lot of the stuff is like, okay, yeah, there's a handful of these games that are now available, digitally purchase and stuff like that. But so much of it is not. But it's all not Sony's fault. Like some of these franchises are not Sony franchises that are just gone. And I think I've seen a lot of people like kind of putting this all at Sony and stuff like that. But you also got to remember, it's like, a lot of these franchises are dead for a reason, and it's because they stopped selling, right?
Yeah,
like a lot of
people didn't buy them.
Yeah, they died, right? Now, would they do better now? Probably, because there's a larger gaming audience on the whole.
Yes,
and also I think the nostalgia is there, but also like people are a lot more open to types of games that I think went like definitely during the 7th generation. I think there was a lot of like Japanese made games in particular that people had grown weary of that ended up falling off that I think now people are hungry for again.
Right.
And would be really stoked to see come back or see new iterations of or whatnot.
I agree.
So it is a bummer that a lot of this stuff just isn't available to play like on current hardware. The other big bummer is that so you'll pick up a bot. And when you pick them up, it'll say it has like a title for them. It's not their name; it's just like a title that kind of hints at where they're from, and then a bit of dialogue or a bit of text that also hints at where they're from. Yeah, and you kind of have to put the pieces together, which I think is cute for when you first pick them up.
Right,
but there's nothing in the game that says this character is from this game released on this console in this year.
Yeah, no,
and I think that's a huge disservice to everything that's going on.
I can agree with that, actually. Yeah, if Sony could play their cards right with this thing, they could turn it into kind of their own version of like a Smash Brothers if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Smash Brothers really like goes in on that kind of stuff. Like, here's this weird thing you forgot even existed. Like, it may not be a playable character per se, but it's like, like a little thing that you unlock. And like, here's the thing from whatever fucking weird ass game that you forgot existed. And you're like, oh, that's cool. I did forget that existed. That's neat that you remembered it. They have an opportunity to do that with this thing. And it actually could work for them.
And I was thinking, I was like, well, maybe they didn't have the rights to have all that stuff, but I'm like, no, but they would have had to clear like even the references with the original like IP holders. So at that point, just go the extra mile and, like when you bring them up, because there's like this little pocket station like near the craft site of the ship,
right,
that you can go inspect and it'll show like all of the characters you've collected.
Yeah,
let me go in there and see like, and let's do it up big. Let's have a nice like digital recreation of the box that is in like high resolution,
right,
that lets me see like what it looked like. Because on it, like, I know a lot about video games. There have been a few on here that I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, I believe you.
Amazing.
Yeah,
but I have no way of. Well, actually. Marino, who is a Giant Bomb moderator, actually did an article. I don't want to read it yet because I'm not 100% complete. Yeah. But he did do an article of like letting you know who everybody is and where they're from. Because there's also like Japan only games that are being represented.
Oh, for
here.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of a weird thing. And then there's also like, I'm cognizant of the fact that like at the end of the day, this game is very much look at our brand.
Absolutely.
Revel in the history of our brand.
I mean,
and
that's that's Smash Brothers too.
It is, and it's a lot of stuff. And it's like, on one hand, it's like, that's kind of like a really gross encapsulation of where we are as a society.
Right.
But then on the other side of the coin, when I rolled credits on this game, Justin, I realized, I have more attachment and affinity to PlayStation than Nintendo.
I believe it. Yeah.
PlayStation, like, since the first system, has delivered more memorable experiences to me that have stuck with me in a more fundamental way than Nintendo was very much a formative thing for me.
Yeah, right.
As much as I go back and I mean, I've bought every Nintendo system and I pick up the bigger games.
Right.
I play them and I enjoy them and I move on and I tend to not really think about them again.
Right.
Where, like, a lot of PlayStation stuff, and not just first party stuff, but also just like the third party stuff that lives on PlayStation as like their primary console release. Those games are the ones that sit with me and are like a part of me.
Yeah.
And so like I got choked up multiple times like playing this game.
Yeah.
And like the final level is incredible, and like, there were just like little parts where it's like, and I just kept thinking about it, it's like, I've been here for all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was 15 when the PlayStation first came out,
right?
And I got it like about 6 months after launch, and I bought I didn't buy PS2. I didn't buy a PlayStation at launch until 4. I bought the 4 and 5 at launch. The others I waited a little bit. But I've been there close enough to launch for all of the consoles to, really have experienced a lot of the core libraries. And, in the case of like the PS1 and PS2, right? Like, that's the height of my retail days.
Right.
So with those consoles being like the biggest consoles of the time, they're very intrinsically linked to like my favorite time of my life.
Right.
And it just really hits really hard with this game. And it's such a wonderful love letter to that whole legacy. And then you have fucking executives at Sony saying, we don't have enough IP to leverage it. We've really not like done a good job of building that up. It's like, what are you talking about? You literally just released a game like showing how much legacy and IP you have.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. There's something with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder on this one, because I didn't really know that it was going to go into a lot of that stuff. I thought that was kind of the one that came, the Playroom thing,
mm-hmm.
like because it came with the PlayStation 5. Like, hey, let's show off the PlayStation 5 and all the stuff, that how far PlayStation's come and all that stuff. I didn't know that stuff was going to be in this one.
Playroom is very much a celebration of the hardware legacy.
Right.
Astro Bot is more of a celebration of the game legacy.
Yes, but it still does have a lot of that stuff in Playroom. Like, there is the little Easter eggs and stuff.
And there's that last level goes hard. That's all I want to say. I don't want to spoil it, but holy shit, it's so good.
Right. I believe you.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring that up is like, how have they been with marketing this one in particular?
That I don't know, and I will be very curious to know how this game does.
Because if I remember right, and I could be wrong, I seen a story about it that it wasn't selling very well in Japan, like, which was fascinating, and like, because I think that might be like their earliest numbers that they could find,
right? And
it didn't seem like it was doing right there.
That's also just like everything game-wise in Japan, except for the Switch.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been that way for years. It really has probably died down. Yeah. But like, so we'll see how it comes. I'm really curious how it's going to do. I'm kind of the same as you. Like I said, I didn't know it had a lot of the stuff that it had.
Yeah. And I really want to hammer home the point that this really cements the fact that Team Asobi is just a hell of a developer. Mm-hmm. And one thing I wanted to say is that, like, when you get to the credits of the game, it does this really cool interactive credits thing that I really appreciate. This is a triple A ass game. This is one of the prettiest games that I've ever seen. I think it might be the best. Well, I don't want to get ahead of it. We've got a category for that. This is one of the best looking games that's come out this year for sure. And it feels, like that it belongs everywhere, like just as high up there with like your Last of Us is, and you know, your Horizons and stuff like that. But the feeling of the design of the game feels indie. Like when you're going through the credits, like it feels like it's just because it is a relatively small team when you're talking about AAA game development, but also like just the attention to detail and the love and the personality in it. It feels like you're aware of the touch of individual people's hands on it in a way that makes it a very intimate experience. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I can totally see that. Like, look, the attention to detail. Special. Yeah, the attention to detail part, especially because, like, look, I'll say like a thing. It's not the thing. Like the thing that made me like really like, okay, I should actually pay attention to this. This is actually kind of awesome. Was they were going around looking at bots, and there's a Ken bot and a Ryu bot, and it's like, all right, that's cute. Street Fighter, right? That's PlayStation thing. I guess, kind of, you know. If you punch them both at the same time, they will do like the full animated alpha intro, like touching gloves, doing the whole. They're like having the little play fight before the actual fight thing, and I was like, oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, I don't have Ken yet, so I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's beat for beat. Yeah. It's so cool.
Okay. I will share one because there's a ton of bots in here, but I will share one because and just to like reiterate the attention to detail.
Yeah,
Kiryu is one of the bots,
right?
And you can punch him, and he will drop items from his pockets.
Okay,
and you can keep punching him, and everything that he drops is an item that you can pick up in a Yakuza game.
Yeah,
it is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, the attention to detail is just immediately I was like, oh yeah, somebody really fucking was like, which one? What should we do here? And they were like, no, it has to be perfect. It has to be this beat for beat, and they nailed it. I was like, god damn, that's awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, that it says a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that's Astro Bot. Like, I think it's just a phenomenal game. I honestly cannot imagine anyone like having anything bad to say about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if it says a lot that I'm tempted to play it. Like I might play it. I might actually do that. I'm not 100% sure. It depends on how long is it? How long did it take you?
About 10 hours.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
I'll probably tack on another 5 to get it to like 100%.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Okay, I might mess around with that at some point, maybe.
It fucking sucks.
What?
Justin, I wanted to introduce you to our new intern. This is Jeremy, the Jaded Gamer.
Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Hi, Jeremy.
Stupid fucking Astro Bot fucking sucks, man.
You have a striking resemblance to another person that we've had on the show before.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I don't either.
So, why do you think it sucks, Jeremy? It just does, man. I don't know. It's just lame. It's just a stupid game for babies.
Well, I mean, yeah. What games do you like to play, Jeremy?
I don't know. Just stuff.
Okay, well, but like what? Like, you know, like what's like not a stupid game for babies? I would like to know.
Like old stuff. Like everything now just sucks.
Oh, okay.
It all sucks.
So like Mario.
Mario sucks.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Nintendo sucks.
Okay.
Okay, well, what about, I mean, okay, so I'm kind of getting you're more of an Xbox guy. No, fucking Xbox sucks, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so like PlayStation then? Maybe?
No, man, it just said PlayStation fucking sucks.
Oh, right, you did say that. You did say that.
I don't care about
but like, okay, but like, what about like The Last of Us or something? Is that cool to you?
No, man, it's lame. It's stupid third-person shit. Don't like it.
Right, first person. Okay, so Call of Duty?
No, man. Like, just asshole alpha gamers played Call of Duty. I don't like that shit.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, well, so I guess you're more of a PC gamer. Like that. I mean, that's the last thing. It's like it's got to be PC, right? Like that. Right. That's your thing. No, I fucking hate PC. It's stupid. Everything sucks. Games suck.
Do you like Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, okay.
Okay, all right, there we go. We pinned it down. Okay, all right. So like yeah, pretty that okay. All right, Dark Souls that's good. What's your favorite one of those?
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of all pretty lame, but
right. I mean, they're too easy. I'm sure.
They're way too easy. Everything's for babies.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Jeremy. Thank you. Go check in with Morgan. He'll kind of get you started, and we'll kind of go from there. In the meantime, maybe try to look on the brighter side of things. Look on the brighter side of your ass.
That's good. I mean, that's a good burn.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, whatever. Smell you later. I gotta go to the bathroom.
He said, "Smell you later."
So that's our new intern, Jeremy, the jaded gamer. I met him. I kind of met him on the street, and we got to talking about games. He seemed a little bit more positive than that, but yeah, I kind of felt that I could take him under our wing and kind of like maybe I think we can fix him, Justin.
That's a bad mentality to have, Julian.
I think we can fix him.
Okay, but you've dug this grave for us, so I guess we're here.
I know I should have run it by you first, but
no, I don't run anything by you. It's fine. Just
he's an unpaid intern. I think.
It's fine.
Yeah. If anything, he can help Abramo with getting stuff cleaned up around here. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
That's good.
moving right along.
Yeah.
I had this realization recently, Justin. I wanted to kind of run it by you because we've kind of talked about this off mic before.
Okay.
I've never been diagnosed with like ADHD or anything like that, but I'll see things online and, it's like, oh, there's another box to check off.
Yeah.
And I was so my friend Blissy, like she'll talk about hyperfixating on things. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that sounds rough. Like I'm glad that I don't do that. And one thing, so she and I chat on Skype a couple times a week. And one thing that we do is we'll find like stuff to watch together, like just usually like little YouTube things or TikToks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like we'll pull them all together, and then I'll share my screen and we'll watch them together.
Yeah.
One day, like before it was time for us to hang out, I was like, there was stuff on YouTube that I wanted to show her. Let me go back through my history and see what it is. And I'm like scrolling through Hololive clip after Hololive clip after Hololive clip.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I really am watching a lot of Hololive now, aren't I?
Yeah.
And the realization didn't dawn on me then, Justin.
Right.
It wasn't until I started like finding Hololive reaction GIFs to add to my memes folder on my phone.
Oh boy.
Where I was like, oh, I do tend to hyperfixate on stuff. And you can literally like go through my memes folder on my phone, and it's like an archaeological dig where you can see like the it's like, well, there's all the Letterkenny GIFs.
Yeah.
And there's all the Brooklyn Nine-Nine GIFs.
Right.
And and it just goes like further and further, and it's like, yeah, I guess that is a thing that I tend to do.
Yeah,
and I didn't really realize it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was actually talking to friend of the show, John Gholson, about this because he is trying to see about getting some sort of diagnosis. I don't know if a diagnosis would actually do anything for me. Like,
hard to say.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if medication, I mean, I don't know what it would do. Like, and I'm skeptical of it because like when I went on depression meds for the first time, all it really did was give me erectile dysfunction.
Nice.
So
yeah,
like,
that's always fun.
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, well, that was lasting damage that
Right.
didn't actually help like address the actual root of the problem.
Mhm, mhm.
And it kind of has me like skittish to try anything
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
along those lines. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's a thing that happened.
Medicine's weird, man.
Yeah.
Side effects suck.
Yeah. Might have like led to the downfall of my last relationship because like, you know, all of a sudden like a lot of like interest was all of us like just dried up all like overnight practically.
Yeah.
It really sucked. But that is to lead into something that I do have to talk about, Justin. And I wasn't going to I had planned to not talk about Hololive for a while because I understand that I've been bringing it up a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's fine.
But something happened that I need to talk about, and I need to tell you about it because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
If anything, your eyes are going to glaze over about 5 minutes into this, and that will be entertaining for me.
Sometimes that happens to me.
Yes.
But that's fine.
So there was this thing that they were advertising. It was called ENigmatic Recollection. EN in capital letters because it stands for Hololive English, because it's all of the English Hololive members that were going to be participating in this thing. And what it is, they modded Minecraft into like this very bespoke RPG adventure for these girls. Like one person did this whole thing, like created this entire game. There's a whole kingdom with a storyline. There's areas within the kingdom for each of the guilds to build their own plots of land in. And then outside of the kingdom, there were like multiple like fields to go like fight and farm in, and then multiple dungeons, right?
Okay.
Now the setup for this story is basically they all got isekai'd into it.
Sure. And
they lose their memories as they end up there and are just trying to figure things out. And it's very much like a D&D campaign where you like I think they all had kind of like someone that we didn't see, like someone off camera that was kind of like the GM kind of puppeteering the things a little bit, but I could tell it was all kind of based on their individual actions and interactions with each other. And they were kind of like starting to tell this story. And all the girls had like different ways of like getting into the world. I watched the beginning of Bay's stream where she just woke up in a void and she said she remembered like seeing headlights and then she woke up in this place. And her whole thing was that she was like, if you want someone to save your world, it is not me. Get me out of here. Like, her energy is so much you. Like, you would love her. Cecilia Immergreen, my personal favorite, like, she was just walking around her room and then got a piano dropped on her and woke up in, like, they all woke up in this, like, blank white room.
Right.
And they were all, like, just kind of, like, figuring out what was going on. And then what happens is they get sucked into this world, the Kingdom of Lebestal. And from then, it's an RPG. So they were going through quest lines, and there was NPCs with dialogue, and they're doing all of this, but at the same time interacting with each other. And they all got sorted into guilds. And the very smart thing about this is that the guilds weren't divided by the individual groups. So you got to see people interacting with each other that don't normally interact with each other.
Okay.
And it was extra great for the newest set of girls from Justice because they got to interact with everybody on a deeper level than just like a one-off game stream or something like that.
Right.
And Justin, the level of drama and storytelling was fucking impeccable. It was funny because as this was going on, they did this for like 7 days. And during that time, the Minecraft movie trailer came out. And it's like, no, Enigmatic Recollection is what the Minecraft movie should actually be.
Right.
And so, it's impossible to keep track of it all because you have 19 girls who were doing streams of up to 7 days that range anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. It is a fuck ton of stuff to go through.
Ooh-wee. Yeah.
But I will take the time to go through like some of the higher points. So you had Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame having this weird attraction / rejection of Nerissa Ravencroft, who Elizabeth was saying was a witch, but was so oddly drawn to her. And I will say, so one thing is that kind of what I was saying earlier about how doing the show has made me get better at the overall stuff. I could tell that like the influence of like Cecilia in particular has caused all the other girls to up their game as far as like how they do things. And so like Elizabeth had this bit where she would mute herself in the game because I didn't realize that Minecraft does like very cool positional audio. Okay. So you would get these cool moments where you're following along with one person playing, and then they get closer to a conversation, and you hear that kind of fading in. And so sometimes they would spy on each other and things like that. But Elizabeth would like mute herself in the game and then put reverb on her voice, and so it made it sound like you were hearing her inner monologue. And so like little things like that, right? So she's got her thing going on with Nerissa over here. Fauna decided to open up her own store called the Fauna Mart, which ended up becoming a whole thing because she was just kind of like fleecing everybody. And she also started a lottery or it turns out that most of the girls in Hololive EN should never go to Las Vegas because they're all addicted to gambling. Okay. Like it happened so fast. It was kind of disturbing to watch, like how deep into the gambling they got. Yeah. To the point that like Fuomoko, it's the twin dogs, there's Fuara and Mokoko. Mokoko got so into the gambling that it kind of made her go insane. Okay. Meanwhile, Fuara was just kind of like content to just like kind of farm chickens, and she was just kind of doing her own thing. Very like she had her own cozy game going on, while over here everything was on fire. Okay. At some point, Bibu got obsessed with the gotcha boxes trying to get a hat, and she spent days trying to get a hat. And when she finally got the hat, Justin, it turned out that it was a cursed hat that started to corrupt her. Okay. And that ended up with her starting to corrupt other girls in the kingdom to try to destroy the kingdom from within. Then you had Mume, who decided to come up with Nana 11, which was going to be the competitor to Fauna Mart. And that became a whole thing. So you've got all that going on. Meanwhile, you've also got the story of the game going, and you've got everybody kind of interacting with that. Yeah. When they would go through a dungeon as a party, at the end of the dungeons, there would be this animation that would play that would basically like give an origin story to one of the original myth girls, the first five. Yeah. And that would also unlock some of their memories, which I think that was one of the DM things like off screen. It's like, okay, now you know this about yourself. Right. So all that's going on. They're trying to kind of unravel the mystery of themselves, also help the kingdom. Right. Oh, sorry. Crony decided that she was going to be queen and had a whole bunch of girls like worshiping or like, you know, not worshiping, but like following her as the queen to be. They started to erect a statue of her like on their plot of land. All of this shit's going on. Callie just decides to like open a tavern, and she was just running a tavern. Okay. She was just being kind of chill. But the thing that was by far the showstopper, the thing that was just peak cinema, Justin, was the saga of Jyohnathan with a G and Jyohnathan with a J. Okay. So you've got Gigi Murin, who she was the one from the new group where I think I told you, I was like, yeah, I don't really like her very much. She was kind of trying too hard. She has since become one of my favorites. She is incredible. But she decided, you know, when she couldn't remember who she was like, well, I'm Jyohnathan with a G. And they're like, isn't that Gonathan? And she's like, no, it's Jyohnathan. I don't know what you're talking about. She ended up meeting up with Amelia Watson, who is one of the first members. She was from the first group. But she didn't remember her name, obviously. She was like, oh, my name is also Jyohnathan. It's John Watson. And I don't know how it happened, but at some point they fell in love and they went on all these adventures together. Jyohnathan with a G would call Jyohnathan with a J her pearl. Oh, also Jyohnathan with a G is a guy. Jyohnathan is the knight to Jyohnathan with a J. Okay. And Jyohnathan with a G was Jyohnathan with a J's diamond. And they went on these adventures and they had like all these interactions going on and everything. It was very sweet. Jyohnathan was very protective. So there was this part where Gura asked Jyohnathan with a J to come with her on a dungeon. Like she hired her as like a bodyguard. Okay. But Jyohnathan with a G was like, I'm going to go supervise, and came along and was just kind of tagging along behind, just making sure that nothing weird was happening. Then you had Iris like kind of trying to get between the Jyonathans and talking some mad NTR shit. It was fucked up. But at some point in the course of all of this going on, over the course of these days, Jyohnathan with a J went through a dungeon and saw her origin story and remembered that she's Amelia Watson. And when she came out of the dungeon and came across Jyohnathan with a G, Jyohnathan with a G was like, "Oh, my Pearl." To which Amelia said, "I'm your Pearl?" And Jyohnathan with a G said, "Well, I heard that you gained your memories back, but I wasn't sure if..." And Amelia's like, "Oh, and you are?"
Mighty nice castle. What of my husband? My husband? What do you mean? What do you mean, little chatterbox?
My dear sweet Pearl! Hello!
I am your Pearl?
I heard that you had gotten your memories back.
Yes, and you are...
Just nothing. I am just a mere humble knight. I am Jyohnathan G. It is nice to meet you.
Oh, Jyohnathan
dear.
G.
What is your name?
My name is Amelia Watson. I'm a detective.
Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you, Amelia Watson.
Oh,
well,
it's nice to meet you too, Knight. I'm here to offer my services.
I'm not just a detective.
Oh,
your services. Oh, what's this? Do you recognize this?
I do.
It is just like you.
I believe that is me.
It is you. Well, I will leave you to it. I wish you much luck on your detective services.
Oh, thank you, Knight. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with.
Yes, of course. Farewell, fare thee well. I will contact you.
Wait, what was your name?
Fare thee well. I am Jyohnathan with a G.
Jyohnathan with G. That's right. Okay. I will see you around, Jyohnathan with a G.
I will see you around. Farewell.
Farewell.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Let's go. It seems that the worst, what we feared, has come true. And not even the queen can save me.
Yeah.
It's like, bump, bump.
Yeah.
Bump. It's like the drama is like so intense. And like, dude, the amount of fan art and fan animations and remixes of this moment were like insane. Like, because I finally started following some Hololive people. I was actually like also looking for like the hashtag for this event.
Okay.
And kind of seeing some of the stuff, and like this hit people hard. And
I believe it.
And people were rightly saying like there are Hollywood writers who try their entire career to come up with this level of like cinema right here.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And like, you know, more stuff happened. There was the corruption angle going on with Bibu and the people that she was corrupting. Like, everything's burning. Bae, she did the one stream on the first day and then said, "This is not for me." And then she bounced for the whole week and then came back for the last day. And like, she's looking around the town and there's like fires going, and there's this giant statue of Crony, and at one point Raura had like made this giant message in brick saying, "Will you marry me?" There was a message to Crony, and Bae is just looking around going, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah,
it was very much like that gif of the guy from Community just walking into
with the fire.
Yes, it was very much that, and there was like an actual happy ending for the Jyohnathans, but the saga of the Jyohnathans, fucking impeccable, dude.
Yeah.
And like the level of improv and storytelling, I will say, if you're out there listening to this and you get into like any of the like Critical Role stuff or like the McElroy's podcast and stuff like that, go check this shit out. I'm going to link, someone finally started doing what I was hoping they would do, which is cutting it together into like a digestible movie form.
Right.
So there's a first part right now. It's about 45 minutes and it's cutting together like pertinent information from different people's streams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'll put that in the show notes because it is worth checking out, even if like, you know, you've heard me talk about the Hololive stuff before and you're like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like it's for me." You got to see some of this shit because it's incredibly well done. And I was also kind of impressed with Minecraft just as a game because I've not really ever messed with it.
Yeah,
I've never played it, and I know like the basics of how it works, and I've seen people play it. But I didn't realize how much you could actually do with it. And I didn't realize how the audio worked in it. Because that's actually like a really big part. There's a really funny part where after Bibu was corrupted, it was like her and I think Mokoko spying on some people in, I think, like church or something like that. And they were on the top floor. And they couldn't hear what was going on. but they're like, let's get him. And she goes, attack. And they jump off and then just like are screaming and they fall to their deaths as everybody else was walking out. And Fuwawa, who's Mokoko's sister in real life, turns around. She's like, what was that? Did anybody hear it? Because at that point they'd already died, like respawned. So like you can see the bodies. And she's like, I'm not crazy, right? So there was you heard that? Like, but everybody had also moved on, so they didn't know what she was talking about. And it was just like peak unintentional comedy.
Right.
There were so many glorious moments like that. I've got a big old grin on my face as I'm talking about. It was so fun. And like, I'm still combing through clips of it and stuff like that. And the thing that I started watching today is the way that I'm going to ultimately kind of consume it. Because again, way too much footage to try to go through.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. For sure. Yeah.
I did watch all of Bae's first stream because she was extremely funny. Like when they first got into the big room, she was just like in the corner and she was like, stay away, get away from me. I'm not your hero.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine like just like all of the work and prep that goes into it and like what was going on the behind the scenes. I don't think that all of this was scripted from the beginning. Like it all felt like, you know, they were kind of improvising their characters and then the GM was kind of like, okay, we can spin that with this, but we got to go here, you know, by the end of this day, like y'all have to be here in the story. And they're like, okay, well, we can do that. Yeah. Just a remarkable effort, like all around. And it's only the beginning. This is like the first chapter. So, you know, they're going to keep doing this, but just really impressive and really entertaining.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is that, you know, because then you've got all this drama going on, but then you have like just stuff like Elizabeth doing a song about selling potato salad for money. Okay. That lives rent free in my head now. It has been stuck there all week.
Potato salad. Man, I love potato salad. It gives me so much easy money to build my dungeon jail to put in criminals. I'll lock them here forever. Yay!
Because I love it, and then I will go back and listen. It's such a Justin moment. It is a thing that you would 100% do.
Okay.
And like, I'll just be like, I need to hear the potato salad song again, and then I will go back and watch that again.
Right. Yeah, you'll have that every now and then.
Yeah.
Well,
so that was
good.
Enigmatic Recollection.
Yes.
It was very, very fun.
The Stage Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Sounds like you had a good time watching this.
Very good time.
Yeah.
I guess before we move on, Justin, we should thank our wonderful patrons.
Sure, we can do that.
Thank you. I'm glad you approve.
Yep. Yep.
We appreciate all of our wonderful patrons, but every week we like to thank the executive producer tier. And this week, we have Big Baker.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Eric Peacock.
We have Exrian.
We have Joel Thoman.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip P.K. Becker.
We have Raymond Crum, an upgrade from associate producer to executive producer tier. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
And we are going to be putting out more executive producer tier content. So, glad to have you.
Hell yeah. We have Stephen Lobo.
And we have Xavier Krager. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. It really does mean a lot.
It does.
Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm trying to think. Excuse me, Mr. Titus and Mr. Ham.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, hey, Morgan. Where have you been? I feel like it's been a bit. Oh, I've been trying to chase around that pesky phantom and not really succeeding.
Do you have traps for it?
I mean, it's just roach traps, but I don't think that they're going to get the job done.
No, it's probably like bigger than a roach. You're gonna need like traps for a man.
Man traps.
You need some man traps.
Yeah.
So what were
maybe some spikes?
Yeah, I was just gonna say spike picks. Maybe like some trap doors.
Yes. Please don't make me import poison from the poison swamps, though.
No.
I don't want to go back to the poison swamp.
I would never do that. No, you don't want to desecrate the poison swamp. Right, that makes sense. Maybe, okay, you get like a cake and you put like a box over the cake, but then you lift the box up with like a stick. So when they go to get the cake, it'll knock the stick over and then they'll be trapped in the box.
I have seen something like that on your earthly television. I found it quite humorous, but it could also be effective.
It could be, and you could, or the rope trick where you tie a tree to a rope, and then when they step in the rope, then it snags them. I don't really know how it works. You'll have to figure that out. But
I'm not sure how that'll work here in the studio, though. We don't.
Well,
really have
I'm sure we have like some ropes for like curtains and stuff, right?
We do have that.
Yeah,
he does seem to like to hang out in the rafters.
See, there you go.
But actually, sirs, the reason that I'm here, and I apologize, Mr. Ham.
Okay, that's okay.
You had asked me for aardvark facts, and it took me a while because I had to do quite a bit of research. It was very expensive to travel to the lands where the aardvark lives.
I really appreciate your dedication to this thing that I completely remember. I totally remember you doing this. I didn't forget it all, Morgan. Didn't forget that ever happened.
I felt very pressured because I knew that you were waiting for it, but I am here.
Right, it has been some time.
I am here with what I have observed about the aardvark, sir.
Mm-hmm.
First, it does not appear to spit any kind of poison or toxins.
That's good.
In fact, it does not seem to have any hidden defenses at all, such as bone spikes, electricity, or a bladed tail. It seems very ineffectual, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like docile.
Very. I actually killed around 30 of them, did not find anything of note in the corpses besides meat and skin.
Right.
No pieces of armor or crafting materials.
I don't mean to interrupt. Are you on a list now, by chance? Like nobody's seen you do that, right?
Well, no, I wear my mask everywhere when I'm outside.
Okay. So no, we're safe. Okay, as long as the police aren't here, looking for. I don't know if aardvarks are like endangered or protected. You didn't find. Let me put it this way: you didn't find any like plastic tags on any of them, did you?
No, they were all just there was no manufactured pieces among them.
Fantastic.
I did a thorough inspection of all corpses to find anything of value or note, and didn't find anything.
Well, fantastic. Then I think we're good. Okay, continue with your report.
That is my report.
Oh, that's it.
I hope that is to your satisfaction.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfectly good. As long as if you see the police, don't tell them about that.
Well, they do come around quite often looking for Mr. Williams, but Mr. Titus informed me not to talk to the Popo.
No, he's right. Yeah, so that's fair.
Yes, so if that will be all, sirs, I will take my leave of you.
Thank you, Morgan. That was fantastic. I appreciate everything you do here.
Thank you, sir. I will. I'm going to go check the restroom. I saw the noob guy go in there, and then I heard some screaming, so I'm going to go check that out.
Okay, yeah, thanks. That might be for the best.
All right, thank you, Morgan. You ever think that things are really weird around this studio, Justin?
Nah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's A-okay. I don't see anything wrong with anything.
I mean, everybody keeps complaining about the fourth stall. I have not noticed anything weird there. I don't know what everybody's on about.
I was going to say, Jacob Washington, a friend of the show, he had nothing but nice things to say about it to me. So,
yeah. I don't know. I think it's really blown out of proportion. I think Abramo is just really superstitious. Is what it really boils down to.
I mean, sometimes he doesn't wear shoes, so
he should wear shoes when he's cleaning the bathroom. That just
he says something about he doesn't want to get bleach on them. So
Okay. I mean,
yeah.
The bathroom does look pretty good. I still would like him to spend a little more time on the fourth stall. It's starting to look pretty grody, but I've tried to talk to him in the past and it hasn't gone particularly well.
Maybe you put the intern on that one.
Maybe. Yeah. Jeremy's got to start somewhere.
He's got to start somewhere, We'll humble him a little bit,
Yeah.
Put him on there. Sure, it's fine.
I'm sure. So there was one last thing that I had, Justin, before we take off. We do not have any questions, comments, or concerns, I should say.
All right.
If you have questions, comments, or concerns, there are multiple ways to reach us. You can email us. The email address is thestateselectpod@gmail.com. You can DM us on Twitter @stateselectpod. You can comment on the show episodes on YouTube, the YouTube channel. If you're a patron, you can comment on the posts on the Patreon page. Or the easiest way is probably to join our Discord and get at us there. There is a questions, comments, and concerns tab. Also, just want to get it's been really nice in the Discord overall, and I'd like to give a shout out to Archimedes Def Ray, who has been very active in there all of a sudden. It was funny because he popped up in response to something and I was like, oh, is that a new person? And it was not, because we didn't get an alert. And I was like, oh no, it's just someone that joined however long ago and just hadn't really waded in and has been very, nice. Very cool and chill and nice to be around. So thanks a lot. And if there's 30 people almost in the Discord now, and really, I know not all of y'all are in there regularly, talking, but jump on in. It, don't be shy.
I check on it all the time and read through things, and then I was like, oh, that was a day ago. I'm too late for this conversation, and then I kind of bow out. So that's the story of my life. Is I'm a day late to a conversation.
I think that's fine. Actually, no, I'm glad you brought that up, Justin.
Yeah,
because I think there is. I think people do get behind on the show, and they think that they're too late to send in a question, comment, concern. You are not.
Oh,
Feel free to
questions,
send in
comments,
any questions
and concerns. Yeah,
for
absolutely.
any episode. If there's something that you want to bring up from a previous episode, feel free. We might not remember it, in depth, but once we start talking, we'll get going. So
lest we not forget the way Mike Fallick likes to bring up things that I said months and months ago, and then expects me to remember them like they were yesterday, which I do not.
No, I know. Yeah.
So
I will usually have a better idea because I tend to hear these conversations a minimum
multiple
of 3 times.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm here for it live, then I edit it, and then I listen to the final product to make sure that nothing wonky happened.
Right.
So that tends to ingrain it in my head pretty decently well. So if you do bring up something from episodes back,
absolutely.
It's not a problem. So don't be shy. If you're hearing this 4 weeks from now because you're 4 episodes behind, don't worry about it.
Even if we don't remember, just tell us what we said and that'll be fine.
Yeah, and we'll go from there. Yeah. But I thought we could close this episode out because they did, because I really had thought that it wasn't going to happen because it just, I don't know. I guess I had forgotten there were actually people who said that they had pretty damn near confirmed it on their own independently, but Sony did announce the PlayStation 5 Pro officially this week.
Yes.
In a very bizarre 9-minute long presentation by Mark Cerny, 2 minutes of which were basically just talking about how great the PS5 is.
Oh, yeah.
So really about 7 minutes of talk, but then at the end was a 2-minute trailer. So really 5 minutes of talk about the console. Kind of a weird way to kick it off.
Yeah. I didn't watch it because It happened, I think, while I was at work, I want to say.
Yeah, it was during the day. I had it on. I had it going on in the background while I was working, and I would kind of like glance over, like, but it was also like it was a YouTube stream, so it looked like shit.
Right.
And then last night, I actually watched the 4K upload on YouTube on my TV, which was a fair bit more impressive. Still, I think, like we were talking about last week, and it's a bad thing for them. It's like, you can't really sell this console without seeing the console on a TV. And, and even at like a Best Buy setup, if they do have one set up, like those TVs are never set up properly anyway. So
also you'd need something right beside it to be like, this is how it used to look, and this is how this one looks now, or whatever.
Maybe. I mean, I think that I would be able to tell. Like I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah. Well, even if you couldn't, like, if you were a new customer and you came in there and seen that, which one is this one? That's the one I want. So
exactly, yeah. So it's a hard sell for multiple reasons.
Oh yeah,
the biggest one being the price.
Yeah.
Which is $699, which is actually what I was expecting for the next gen consoles to start.
Yeah.
So I was pretty surprised at the price, but I was like, but I wants it, precious. Like, they said enough stuff that got me like really jazzed about it. And then the other shoe dropped, which I didn't realize at the presentation, which is it's $699 without a disc drive.
Yeah.
And that is insane to me.
Yeah.
And the reason is that it's got a 2 terabyte hard drive now instead of a 1 terabyte. So that's where...
That's fine, yeah.
So if you're thinking about it that way, it's like, well, okay, like a terabyte would cost you an extra $100. So like that's but my thing is like, I would gladly do away with that extra terabyte for the drive instead.
Right.
I have never had a problem with the storage space on the PS5. I've got like 250 gigs free right now, and I've got games that I can delete right now that I'm not playing anymore and be fine.
I tend to have that same thing where I'm just like, oh yeah, like every now and then I'll run out of space on like either Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm just like, oh yeah, right, I have this stuff that I'm never going to play again, or I haven't played in months or whatever. I can just get rid of this, and this, and it's fine. It's never really a big deal. I do it on PC all the time too, and I have plenty of space on PC where I'm just like, I'm not playing that. Why do I have this installed right now? It's fine. Get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, I installed Soul Calibur 6 on my PC recently, and then I played it for 2 days and was like, I don't need this on here.
Yeah, and that's my thing.
Got rid of it, yeah.
And, and I have Final Fantasy 14 and Street Fighter 6 always installed.
Yeah.
And those are large games, but then... Yeah, as I finish a game, I delete it and I move on. Like, I guess if you're the type of person who is flipping between more than one multiplayer game,
and I'm sure there are people like that.
Yeah, if you're a hardcore Call of Duty player who's also like into Fortnite and let's say I don't even know. Like I'm trying to think. Like, but then you're also getting like one of the big like latest first party games or something. Then I can see that being running into an issue. But I don't know. I think the only place that it gets really messed up is if you're in an area where like data caps are a thing, and so you can't re-download stuff.
Sometimes it is. Yeah, it's slowly becoming like less and less of a thing. But
I think people have rightly been able to push back on that business model enough to where it's not much of a thing anymore.
For sure. Yeah.
I hope anyway. Like if people are listening to this and they have that, like, let me know, because I'm not sure how prevalent.
I had it for a while way back when, and it sucked every time. It was always one of those things where you'd run into it and be like, motherfucker, like, because it comes out of nowhere on you. You're not paying, even if I would try to pay attention to it, and it'd still fuck me over every now and then. So
so obviously they didn't have any new games to show with it, which I think that sucks, and that's a deeper problem within Sony. They don't have anything in the pipeline to...
Man, that is one of the weirdest things, I think, is I feel like the announcement of this goes with like, hey, and here's this new game that shows off how fucking cool this thing actually is, and we had built it with this in mind and all this stuff. Like, it's your chance to really sell both things. Like, Oh yeah, you can play it on your busted old PlayStation 5 or you can play it the way it's meant to be on this thing. And they didn't do that.
One of the guys from Digital Foundry made a good point, which is that they were pretty much all showing Sony first party stuff, but Sony first party stuff is the best looking stuff on the console.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hard to be like, now it looks and runs even better. And it's like, well, yeah, it does, but like those games already looked incredible. So I'm not it's not that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's not like I was like complaining about the way these games look. My thing is that I just like the graphics to look as shiny and fancy as possible. Like that's the thing. That's actually the thing that I wanted to kick this off with, which is that I am literally the type of person that they're trying to market this system to. I am an enthusiast gamer who likes the flashiest graphics and doesn't like messing with PC gaming.
I get it.
And it's a hard sell for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's a hard sell for me, I don't know how this is going to work, guys. And I'll be very curious. Like, I would imagine it's probably still going to sell out, but only because they probably are going to put a very small amount into the pipeline initially.
Yeah.
But that is also just a weird thing with this generation in general. And again, this isn't Sony's fault, right? There is a historic pandemic and then a historic supply chain issue that stopped the system from really being able to launch and get into the hands of people, right?
Right.
And there was demand for it. Like, I think that's the thing that people are saying, like, oh, well, people don't want the PlayStation 5. And I don't think that it's that. I think that it's, there was demand for it. People couldn't get it. And then by the time that people could get it, the economy had gotten to a point where now it wasn't really a feasible thing to get.
Right.
And they're like, well, I can stick with my PS4 for a couple more years because there's still games coming out that are compatible with it.
Yeah.
So there's not as big a reason to upgrade.
Right.
Where normally by this point in the generation, the stuff that was still being produced on PS4 would be like kid games and like the sports titles.
Yeah, sports stuff. Yeah.
And a handful of JRPGs that 10 people are going to buy and then 10 years from now are going to be worth a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
Right. That's how this always goes.
Yeah. That's about right.
And I honestly, like, I kind of wish that what they had done instead of this is pull an Xbox 360 and say, yo, this generation didn't work out. We're going to launch the PS6 in 2026 and just get out ahead. Because, a lot of people are saying 2028, right, for next gen.
Okay.
But if Sony was like, we just never were able to get this off the ground the way we wanted to. We were going to do a half-step console, but that's probably not the best idea either. So let's iterate on that further, and then let's just put out the next gen early. Just say, like, we're going to try again, right?
Yeah.
And see where that goes. I think that everybody would be more excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely they would. Yeah, if you up the number on it. Yeah, for sure. The half-step console thing is weird.
I really liked my PS4 Pro and my Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Especially the Xbox One X. Like, that was major. And I do think that, I think the stuff that they're talking about in the PS5 Pro. So one of the big things is their version of dynamic light source shading.
Okay.
But it's like a PlayStation proprietary version of it.
Yeah. That is good tech.
And I was not aware that like that came out to PC like literally like right after the PS5 launched, and so it's been this thing that like the PlayStation 5 or the current consoles can't do that PC has been killing it on.
Right.
And it's like kind of a machine learn. It's like AI upscaling for images, right? Which a lot of people have been doing like for older games to make them look better, like especially like pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff for like old Final Fantasy games and old Resident Evil games, right? So there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with that. And especially if you're building your games from the ground up to work with it, like there's a lot of cool stuff there. Ray tracing is supposed to be like bumped up by like up to 3 times, which is...
It's actually supposed to, be a lot better than
and
it has been.
You and I talked about how amazing ray tracing looked in Cyberpunk, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I know you got a much beefier version of that than I did.
Yeah.
And so I can only imagine, what it would look like on this console, especially because that like CD Projekt Red would be like, yeah, no, we're gonna do a PS5 Pro upgrade version for Cyberpunk, and it's gonna be awesome. So there's stuff like that I actually am interested. So here's the thing. I know I'm going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I just am. The question is like, am I going to get it at launch or am I going to wait? Because I was like, in my memory, I was thinking that the PS4 Pro came out in 2018, but it came out in 2016, and I bought it in 2018. I got the bundle with God of War.
Yeah.
So I did wait a little bit, but I'm a little, I don't know. It's weird because I still feel the PS5 has not fully shown us what it can do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's been a weird generation to put out a half-step.
Yeah,
console.
but I'm also kind of excited to see what more it can do. I know I'm dumb. I know.
No, I can see you buying it for sure.
Yeah, and there's other reasons for me personally, because it would mean that then I can give my PS5 to my friends in Colorado, because that's about the only way that they would ever upgrade their system. And I'm getting really tired of waiting on my friend Shanna to load in on Final Fantasy 14, guys.
Okay, that's fair.
We teleport somewhere, and then I'm just kind of like tapping my foot, and I'm like,
mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. That's an interesting reason for that. I could see it though.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I had like zero interest in it. I stuck with my like old PlayStation 4 like that for the longest time. I never upgraded to the Pro. I did upgrade the Series X. I'm talking, last gen or whatever.
Yes.
I did
the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the Xbox One Series X or not Series X, but the
One X.
Yeah. God, their naming convention's terrible. I'm sorry.
It's fucked.
It's bad. It's so bad.
I think they're sticking with S and X though, so I think that's going to be the thing going forward.
That's fine. I can deal with that. But yeah. Now, when it comes to, now my whole thing, I'm just like, I don't need this at all.
Yeah. Well, and you just got a new computer that is, that's going to do you good.
For a while.
That'll take you to the next gen, and then we'll probably even be able to run those games for the first year or two.
Probably. Oh, yeah, for a while. Yeah, it'll be fine. If anything, I can up the graphics card and be fine.
Yeah. I think the thing for me that, and this is the other thing, right, is that I could buy a PlayStation 5 Pro every year until the next gen comes out and still not be up to the price that you paid for your PC.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, people and a lot of people, that's been like a prevailing sentiment for people is like, well, at that price, you should just build a PC. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, because
I saw a lot of hot takes about like, no, but like for like a few hundred, or like for a few $100s more, you can get a PC that can do this and more. It's like, Justin did a lot of research on his system, and that is, if you wanted to do the stuff that this console can do, it's going to be quite a bit more than that to get that done.
for sure. Like, if you, I mean, depending on what you want, right? Like, but like, PCs are a lot, and they require a lot of knowledge of building and stuff like that. But if you don't have that and you get it built by somebody else, then it's a little bit more, and there's all this other stuff, it's the whole thing. So like, no, it's totally fine to buy that thing if that's what you want to do.
So, and there's other reasons, right? So like, I've got like my half of our Patreon money that I can put towards this. I've got credit card reward points that I can put towards it.
There you go. You're hustling like me in high school right now. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like I can defer some of the cost.
Been setting back my lunch money for a couple months now.
Right?
Yeah.
and there's also a part of it of like doing the podcast, right? Like, I'm like, well, one of us should get it.
Yeah.
Just like, be able to talk about it on the show.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of ways that I'm justifying in my head. And I think right now, so one of the things is like, on my vacation, one of the things I'm going to do is, visit my friends in the Springs. So part of me is like, I can bundle up the PS5 and take it to them now, and then just do without for a couple months and play Xbox stuff.
Yeah.
And Switch stuff. And then, I think the big thing is like, when does this go on pre-order, and can I get a pre-order? Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to go 5 months without my PlayStation. I can go 2 months without it. Although that really hinders Game of the Year talk, because a lot of the Game of the Year stuff is I own on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. I'm curious. I guess, is TGS this month?
It's soon.
Okay. I'm wondering if that's when pre-orders are going to go live.
It's possible. I don't know.
Yeah. But the more I think about it, it's like, no, but I do want it. But I think the big thing online is like so many like jaded takes. I mean, I will say like I'm not seeing very many people interested in this console.
Yeah, and kind of right, and admittedly rightfully so for some people, you know.
But I also see like a lot of people just like kind of being really like insulting of anybody who would even entertain getting this console, and it's like just let people like things.
It's like, not for them, you know. That's basically it. There's always that like holier than thou type shit in video games, which always kind of annoys the shit out of me.
It's just stupid. You shouldn't get the stupid console, moron.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy. Welcome back. How was the restroom?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I just get kind of upset about things because I don't know.
Jeremy, have you eaten today?
No, but
you should eat.
I heard some things that in the stall.
Oh. Okay. Well,
I gotta go.
Okay. Well, you know.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy.
He's gotta go, Julian. We don't question these things. We want to have a good reputation with the workplace, so we should let him take some personal time. You know.
No, it's his first day. Like
we're almost done here anyway.
Let him get acclimated.
It'll be okay.
We really got to work on him with the like. He needs to allow people to like things, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
It's like I think that we can teach him that. Like I think it's something that a lot of people can learn from Jeremy's journey.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I guess one thing before we close, like just to kind of close this out, kind of put a bow on it. What do you think this means for next gen?
And I'm glad you asked me that because I am actually kind of curious.
Yeah.
What people think of this. I'm wondering if they're gauging the reaction to this too, because it has been not the most positive reaction.
No, and I 100 like the price was bad enough, but the fact that the disk drive isn't there, and I think that, and I get it, right? Like both companies are trying to test the waters of going full digital.
Yeah.
The problem, especially with the PlayStation 5, is that this thing plays 2 generations of PlayStation games.
Yeah.
That, and maybe people have gone mostly digital on PS5 games.
Right.
But people have got a good collection of PS4 games that you can run on that thing. So, that's my thing. And I really wish that there were 2 versions of it like they did at launch.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that there's not. But at the same I guess they're just like, well, we can just sell it separately. So fuck it. We'll just do it that way, I guess.
I'm sure part of it is that it's cheaper to do a single box. And also they already have been selling the separate drives for the slim models. It's the same drive.
Yes,
so
actually,
they already produce them.
So it makes sense.
There's already assholes that are snapping them up in preparation for it. So
I'm sure.
If I get it, like it's going to be a thing where it's like, okay, but I'm probably not going to have access to my disc games for a while
for a little
because
bit.
I'm not going to be able to get a drive, which is
pain
really annoying.
My biggest question going forward is, do they try this again? And if they do try it again, is people's reactions going to be roughly the same or worse?
Yeah.
And what kind of impact will it have when they actually launch a console next time? And people go, well, I'm just going to wait until they put the next one out because that'll be the good one. Because they keep doing it.
Yeah. See, and I don't think that that's necessarily all that big of a problem. I think that I do think that half-step consoles are pretty much here to stay. I think that Xbox didn't do one because they kind of did it at launch, right?
Yeah.
They just kind of went in the opposite direction.
In a different direction.
Instead of having their base system and then doing a more powerful one, they released a weaker one and then the main system at the same time. So they're covered for this gen. But I do think that having like 2 systems like in the course of a generation is kind of the new standard. But I think it's also kind of it's like phones, right? Where it's like you can decide to upgrade or not, right? And so I don't know if it necessarily impacts the next one. I think it depends. So like if I buy a PS5 Pro, it means that I may not decide to buy a PS6 at launch because
you're
I
right.
feel that I'm good with the PS5 Pro.
That's true.
Whereas someone who bought a PS5 and then we get to PS6 is like,
Right.
no, I'm ready to upgrade.
And we might be getting to that point where like the next gen of consoles is like not it'll be a step up, but not like a dramatic step up. Like I feel
we're already
it's gonna be a while before we really get like the dramatic step up. You know what I mean?
I've been saying that for a while. Is that like it's all like it's stuff that once you're accustomed to it, it's hard to go back.
It's hard to go back. Yes,
but it's stuff that's very much either behind the scenes or like the way the games run,
right.
or certain little bits of detail, or things of that nature, right? Like crowd densities and things like
right.
Stuff like that, right? But that stuff I think is actually very important and beneficial. Sure. And we were talking about Inzoi, right, a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
that's the type of thing where it's like, yeah, I could see a PS6 doing that, but on a GTA level, and it being that type of video game, and that being kind of transformative, where it's like you go back to like a PS4 or PS5 era open world game, and you're like, man, it's empty.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing going on in this city, right?
Yeah.
Like I 100% think that's where we're going with that
absolutely.
type of stuff.
Yeah,
AI behaviors are going to get more interesting and intricate, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of that type of stuff. A big thing for me that they still haven't quite cracked is like we still don't have like the ability to have like super realistic clothing physics where like, you still have to like kind of cheat it if you want to have somebody like put something on or take something off.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
They kind of have to do like a really weird camera cut or a thing like that. Right. Like you can't just have somebody like take a coat off.
Right.
Right. Like is not possible.
I mean,
right?
just physics clipping, cloth physics clipping through armor and stuff like that. Hair physics, all that stuff. Like, there's still a long way to go and stuff like that. And
I'm not even talking about like super realistic graphic style. I'm just talking about like, the physics of it.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I can't stress enough that is one of the most taxing things you can do to like a Skyrim modding thing. Like that game is old, sure, but you can run it on, some pretty updated hardware and mod some pretty good looking graphics, but turn physics on one time and see what that shit does to your frame rate. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. And sure, that is a kind of shoelace together version of physics, right? Like, but it's a huge fucking difference. Let me tell you, like, it is very drastic. And so doing that, especially when like they'll hide a lot of the stuff, like when you turn your back, like the physics aren't going on behind you. They hide a lot of that shit because for that reason, because it'll kill frame rates and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. That's the type of stuff, that they'll probably improve over time.
Yeah. But I think my big question was, what does this say about the pricing of next gen? Because like I said, I thought that $700 was going to be like the price of the PS6 and Xbox whatever. Like I was not expecting it to be here now. Yeah. Like at that price point. That's a little
it'll probably be minimum that at least.
And maybe it does launch at the same price, right? Like that used to be the case, right? Like the consoles would be at the same, like, $299 for a long time was like the kind of the sweet spot for launches. Yeah. And then, you might have stuff that was slightly higher or come out slightly, like the big thing for the Dreamcast was that was $199 at launch. And then the PS2 was $299.
I think you're right.
I think it might have been $199. Actually,
might have been $199. Yeah, I'm actually trying to really rack my brain, as I remember saving up for it. But I can't remember how much it was.
Yeah,
it might have been $199 when it came out.
It might have. That's kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and man, like there were so many hot takes on this, and like again, it's like let people like things, but like. It's another thing like I was talking about at the top of the show about like history, right? So people were on about like, oh, consoles are never this expensive, blah blah blah. And it's like, Apparently you don't remember that the 3DO came out $799 in 1993, guys.
Yeah.
And the Neo Geo, like AES, like the home version of the Neo Geo was $649.
Oh yeah.
And the cartridges were $200 a pop.
I remember looking at that stuff in the back of magazines and being like, holy shit, like that's crazy.
I'm not trying to defend the price. I think that the price is bonkers. And I'm very stupid to buy it.
PlayStation 2 at launch was $299.
It was $299. Okay.
Yes, it was. Which was pretty costly for fucking that time period. Really. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
And the PS2 was the first time that you couldn't find the consoles, so people were actually paying double that on
lot
eBay.
More. Yeah, a lot more. I got lucky, and I got it on like the second wave, I remember. Because I had saved up my money and did not spend it on anything. And once they like kind of you could actually find them again, that's when I got them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's probably gonna be that kind of price point. The thing they're gonna have to be careful on is getting it too close to like how much a PC would cost.
Yes.
Not saying like there are definitely people that are going to buy that thing, but you can't if you cross that line too much, then people will go, okay, well, maybe I should look at this other thing then.
Yeah, if they're talking about like $999 for a PS6,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, we're and I think, but a lot of things is that like things change, right?
Yes.
Like because there used to be a time when the big deal was as the console generation went on, the key was to get that price under $199 to get the rest of the people. And then with the 7th generation, that kind of stopped.
Yeah.
And then it super stopped last generation where everything just kind of held its value.
Yeah.
And now it's like, and consoles just don't drop in price, period, anymore during the course of now this one has been very crazy because consoles have actually been going up in certain regions.
Yeah.
Which I think that's bullshit. And that, a lot of that has to do with inflation and just like the way the economy is right now. But I think it's a terrible look.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. It's not a thing you want to do.
Yeah, I honestly think that you should just eat the cost a little bit more because you're eating the cost on the consoles anyway.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how the console market works. If you're not Nintendo. Nintendo's like the only company that makes profit on their hardware because they make them out of cardboard and dreams.
Yeah, I mean, they made that one thing that was just cardboard.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not?
Things are going to change, right? Like I think my big concern definitely is the fact that it's by default without a disk drive, because I worry that next gen there is no disk drive available. Period.
Because
it has to happen at some point, but I really feel that it shouldn't.
Which will be interesting because then I wonder if at some point they go, okay, no disk drive, and we're not going to fucking make one. Mm-hmm. If they just go. If that will shoot up the cost of the old ones, because
100%.
For the people with the physical stuff, like absolutely, like I definitely see that coming.
If that happens, you better believe I'm buying a backup PS5.
Yeah,
like just in case. I have a backup Xbox 360.
Yes, I have a couple backup Xbox Ones and stuff, just because I don't know why. I just never got rid of them. Like I haven't updated, and I'd be like, just keep it just in case.
Yeah.
I thought about getting rid of one of them at one point. I was like, I should just give this to somebody who needs it. And then I was like, who fucking needs this thing? Just keep it. It'll be a nice DVD player or something someday.
I actually have been meaning to go to Game Over Video Games and sell my Xbox One X, my PS4 Pro, and my Xbox One S.
Yeah.
Because those are all still like pretty valuable, especially because like
somehow,
the Xbox One X is the Project Scorpio edition, and the Xbox One S is the 2 terabyte one,
right?
So those are actually like
for sure
pretty sought after, and also just to like get some extra money, and I don't need them, but but that's because I can play all of those Xbox and PS games on my current consoles. But again, if like I couldn't do that anymore, like if then I would end up getting like a backup just because I've got a lot of discs.
Yeah.
if this was Microsoft doing this and I really wanted like their upgrade and it didn't have a disk drive, it wouldn't be as much of a problem because I've gone all digital as far as new games on there. Yeah. My only but I would keep my current Xbox because I do have a lot of 360 discs and original Xbox discs that work on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Let's see what happens, you know?
I'll be really curious to see like what it does at launch. Because I feel that like with the reception that I'm seeing online, it's like, well, this isn't going to sell out, but you know, everything sells out these days.
But then again, it might. You know, never say never.
You know, and I guess it does help that I don't follow like a lot of console specific fanboys, just video game fanboys in general. So you know, there's not like a lot. Like I haven't seen like a lot of like, well, of course I'm going to get. I have seen a couple people that are like, no, I want one. Well, I do too. Yeah, I want it.
Yeah, there are definitely people that want it for sure. It's not for everybody,
absolutely
but you know if it's for you. You know.
Yeah. And you know, part of it is that like you know I've got like I got the newer TV like right before the layoff. If I knew I was going to get laid off, I wouldn't have bought that TV. But
that's how it goes. Yep.
But you know, I bought that TV kind of future proofed, and it's like like you know I know that like. Some of the stuff does like the 120 frames like on PS5, but I'm sure more of it will work that way on the Pro. And one thing I should have mentioned in the presentation, I think their big thing is that they're trying to get away from like the toggle between performance mode and quality mode.
Yeah,
like their idea
that's
is
what
to
it
kind of make
like.
it to where like you just get it all.
Yeah, pretty much.
But then at the same time, they said, but there would be like a PS5 Pro mode. Like it's weird. Like the messaging was very strange.
No idea.
So
it's like you said when you started it, you're gonna have to get it and see it for yourself. Pretty much. That's the only way.
Yeah, man. I would have taken a NAC 3 announcement, like anything new to like show off alongside it. Like that would have done so much more for me. To you know, all they showed was a few seconds of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which like, okay, like that's a game that's not out yet. So, you know, that's,
I guess, but nothing to make the hype real. I almost, I don't know.
But then it's like, but like Death Stranding 2 is next year. Grand Theft Auto 6 is next year. Like those two games in particular, I feel are going to be like, you know, high benchmarks for
sure.
That machine. So
I could see it. I could see it. Well, did we? Well, hold on.
Really, Justin?
Yeah, really, Julian.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Never apologize for that.
I hit the button.
No, you did.
That means it's time for the 311 fact of the day. This week's free.
Please change the name of it every time that you do it from now on.
I do. I like to do it. It's fun. As I don't remember what it is every time. I know it's a 311 minute, you know.
That's usually what you call it, yes.
It's a 311 minute. It still is. But it's 311 fact of the minute.
Okay.
Shut up. 2 members of 311 have bought fresh turnips from a local farmer's market before. That's your 311 fact of the day.
What else did they buy at the farmer's market, Justin?
Probably like they could have bought bananas.
Okay.
They could have bought like a radish.
Okay.
Maybe some bok choy.
Starfruit, maybe?
Possibly a starfruit. You know, some strawberries.
Okay. A kumquat.
Yeah. Eggplants.
You wanted to hit that button. I could see it on your face.
I didn't. I'm gonna hit this button though. That signifies that the 311 minutes over.
Okay.
So we're all safe to go now.
Okay. I think that's a show, Justin.
That's a show, Julian.
Yes.
I had to hit it at the end because it brings everything full circle. You see what I did?
No,
I talked about farmers markets, and then we ended with that.
Yeah, no,
perfect.
That is comedy 101 there, my friend.
I try. I'm not good at it, but I try.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're going to go ahead and wrap this sucker up. You can find us online, Justin.
You can find me at Tyrone_Swift on Twitter.com, Twitter X, whatever the fuck it is. I'm barely on there, but if you send something at me, I will see it and probably reply to it. You can find me on twitch.tv/TyroneSwift. I stream every Saturday, and I'm trying to think of new and interesting things to do on it. I've been thinking really hard about it.
I actually have a request, and I don't know if this would be entertaining for a stream or not.
We'll see.
I would like to watch you play some Baldur's Gate 3 because I would like to see someone play it that knows what the hell they're doing.
I don't know if I know what I'm doing, but
you finished it.
Yeah, I did finish it.
You know, I feel that like I was thinking about this today because I keep thinking that like that game needs even an even easier difficulty level for me because I just, you know, I get my ass kicked in that game, and I feel that like it's because I'm not grasping the finer points of all the shit that you can do. So I would find that kind of interesting.
It's possible. Like I said, I don't know if I grasp them either, but we'll see. Let's see. And you can find all the old streams that I've done on Tyrone Swift TV on YouTube.
Yes.
You can watch a bunch of copyrighted shit that somehow comes up.
And you can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. Once again, the show is at Stage Select Pod. Also, go follow us on YouTube because there's actually stuff there to see now. So
there is.
Check it out and let me know what you think. You know, and just know that I am trying to improve with every video. But these first ones are delightfully low effort and kind of purposefully bad.
And join the Discord.
Join the Discord, yes. Hop in there and you know, say hi. Thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and providing us with our logo artwork. But that is going to do it for this edition of the Stage Select. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.
Appreciate your dedication to this thing that I completely remember. I totally remember you doing this. I didn't forget it all, Morgan. Didn't forget that ever happened.
I felt very pressured because I knew that you were waiting for it, but right. I am here with what I have observed.
Cue the montage. Potato salad, potato salad, potato salad, potato. And again. Potato salad, potato salad, potato salad. Potato salad, potato salad. Potato salad. Potato salad, potato salad. Smash them, put them in a stew. Potato salad, potato salad. Wow, I'm so rich. Wahoo. Potato salad, potato salad, potato salad. Potato salad, wow, I am so rich. the richest I've been in all 7 days I've been here in these lands. Unless it's longer and man, time flies. I don't know the time conversion of this world. It has been day and night. Quite a fair bit. Day and night, what? It has been day, and it has been night. So fast. Oh, I've already accepted it. What am I doing? Take it! Potato salad, potato salad, potato salad. I mean, that'll do for now. I'll come back if I need to.
And that was the Potato Salad song, brought to you by Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame.